Have you ever felt like you just couldn't let go of him, even though deep down you knew he just wasn't right for you? Isn't it crazy how, even though you know someone is bad for you, the hardest part is still walking away from the person once and for all? Well, what if I told you that walking away and emotionally detaching from a man could be made a lot easier if you just had a real strategy? Which is exactly why on today's show, we're going to be discussing 10 powerful steps to emotionally detach from any man. That way you can finally reclaim your power, your energy, your time, your confidence, and without having to wait for him to finally give you closure. You guys know what this is? So do you guys know what this is? Does it look right? Does it look right so far? Okay, so for step number one, we're going to discuss purpose, all right? This is a really, really important step to getting to where we want to go, which is actually detaching. Now, the reason I drew a sailboat here is because I want you to think of purpose in this sense of the word for what we're discussing here as your anchor, because you need to be able to go back when times get hard, when you get lonely, when you're in your room by yourself and it's quiet and you really feel like hitting him up, you really feel like messaging him, you really feel like sending him that DM or FaceTiming him. I want you to be reminded of this anchor, such an important part of this situation here, because this is what's going to help ground you and prevent you from going crazy, from crashing out, from relapsing and messaging him when you're trying to properly detach him, okay? So that's why I drew a little bit of a sailboat. If it looks like a sail, hopefully it looks like a sailboat, and this is supposed to be your anchor. So why are we discussing anchors and why do you need purpose in this, right? So your purpose is essentially going to cover exactly why you're detaching from him in the first place. Now, for each and every one of you, it might be slightly different, right? Whether it be, I just realized that this relationship doesn't serve me anymore. I've went back and forth with him. Oh, he's cheated on me, or he's not taking this relationship serious. We're not progressing. Whatever your reason is, I want you in 4 or 5 sentences to go inside your phone, and I want you to write it out in your notes. You can title the note anchor, okay? If you're on Google Pixel, do you guys have notes on Android? I don't even know. I don't use Android. The equivalent of notes on Android, you go in there as well for yourself, and then you write it out as well. The reason I want it to be on your phone is because I want it to be accessible to your person no matter where you go, okay? So whether you're at the movies, whether you're in the hospital, whether you're club, I want you to have it on your person. 4 to 5 sentences that you're going to then be able to go back to and remind yourself, okay, this is exactly why I'm detaching from the guy in the first place. This is what transpired in our relationship. This is how it went down. This is how it made me feel. And this is how I came to the conclusion that the best way to serve myself now is to completely detach from that guy, okay? That's gonna serve as your anchor. You're gonna be able to look back on that and remind yourself anytime you're feeling a little bit emotionally weak. That's gonna serve as your purpose, okay? We all on the same page? Now, we're gonna hop into, I told you, we're gonna start talking about some real actionable stuff. No more sailboat analogies, all right? I really want you guys to listen up here because all of this will apply perfectly. Now, obviously the show is called How to Detach from Any Man, but I promise you the only reason I'm able to share any of this with you is because I've used all of these things myself. So I put them into practice before, and I'm actually sharing them with you now, okay? Let's hop into this second step here. And trust me, there's gonna come a point, because I know, as I'm saying some of these things, there will come a point, and I think I know which point it's gonna be, that some of you will give some pushback, right? The emotional pushback that you're gonna wanna give is probably because you don't really fully wanna detach from that guy, but it's okay, we'll get to that. Let's hop into this step, I should say. So we're gonna say calls here, I'm gonna draw a big circle, and then we're gonna say threads here, then I'm gonna draw another big circle, okay? So we'll do this like this. All right. So for step number 2, we're going to discuss snipping. Now, I want you to be very clear here. I'm going to go through every possible scenario, landmine thing you could come across. we're going to cover everything in this show here. When we get to calls, right, I want you to go through your first, let's start out from the beginning. You're going to go through and you're going to go in your contacts and you're going to delete him as a contact, okay? So I don't want his number readily available to you to message. The reason for that is I don't want to give you an easy opportunity to relapse by having his number saved in your phone, and then you can easily just message him or text him when you feel lonely, right? What I'm attempting to do here in this section is I want to make there be as much friction as possible between you and reaching out to that guy. That way you're not even tempted. So we're going to cover some of these key areas, right? So we're going to start off, you're going to delete his number out of your phone, right? So no more contact information. Then the next step after that, you're going to take that number and then you're going to block that number specifically, okay? So that you don't have access to be able to just readily receive messages from that number as well. Then this is where it gets even more in depth. We're going through everything. You're going to go through your call log. And as far back as you can go, you're going to swipe delete on every single instance of you calling him, of you FaceTiming him that is in your phone memory, okay? I know this seems a little bit extreme, but I know, okay? I've been there, Chad. I've been there. When you have access to the number, sometimes you can even memorize the number, or at least memorize like the range of digits that if you were to go through it in a call log, you'd be able to recognize it and be like, okay, that's the number. And sometimes even having that information in the back of your mind, knowing that like, okay, yeah, I'm deleting the number, but secretly I know I could go through the call log and I could find the number. That's not good, okay? Because I don't want you having a safety net, right? So you're going to go through the call log. You're going to delete any instance of his number, okay? FaceTime's included. Now, next thing as well, you're going to go through your threads. So this can consist of things like, so for example, WhatsApp is not a social media, but WhatsApp can also contain his number. You need to go through that and you need to block him. You also need to delete every instance of, his number in the WhatsApp as well, so that there's no way for you to go and grab his number from anything, okay? So we're going to clear out WhatsApp as well. We're also going to go through your photos and any instance of, let's say you had his number as a screenshot, or let's say, you didn't save his number for a while, so there's a screenshot with his number at the top. Make sure you get rid of every instance of his number. By the time you finish with this step, the snipping step, okay, there's a lot of snipping we're gonna do, but this snipping step, you should not be able to access his number in any capacity, even if you tried your hardest, okay? There should be no amount of detective work after you do this that you could do to get his number besides reaching out to him on Instagram or something and actually asking him for his number, okay? Now, once we get this point done, okay, there's lots more for us to do. We on the same page so far, though. We're going to cover everything, okay? We're properly detaching. I'm going to be in your brain today, okay? So I'm not going to give you no opportunities to relapse here. I'm going to be as detailed as humanly possible with this. And if you guys have any questions or confusions, make sure to ask me, because this strategy is meant to cover everything as it relates to detaching. So I don't want any of you confused. You'll see how detailed this goes. Let's hop into the third step, okay? And now is where some of you will start becoming a little bit upset. You'll have a little bit of pushback here, okay? So I'm gonna draw some more circles. Okay, and you'll see why I'm drawing these ones here. These are all very important, okay? Direct, and then we draw a circle around this one, and then we're gonna say indirect. Okay, and we're gonna draw a circle around this one. Okay, so now, this is where some of you are gonna get a little bit upset, all right? For step number 3, we're gonna talk about your memories. Now, you're gonna go through your camera roll, okay? Very serious. You're gonna go through, I don't care how long it takes you, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3, I don't care how long. Every instance in your camera roll of a picture or a video that has him in it, whether it be with you or it's of him, every single instance, okay? I don't care how long it takes you, like I said. If you have to swipe through, you swipe through, right? And figure out every single picture that's there, right? Now, once you gather up all the pictures, you can do one of two things. I will give you either option, okay? You can either delete all of them, which means you're gonna have to delete them out of your phone and then go to your recently deleted and then delete them permanently. Or if you're like, oh, Thompson, these photos, they're so important to me. Oh my God, I can't do it. I can't push delete. I just can't. Maybe I'll put them somewhere. What you do instead, if you're just too soft to be able to actually delete them, take all of those photos and videos, every instance that he is in the photo or video with you, and you're gonna dump them all on your computer, okay? Not a computer, ideally, I will say, not a computer that you regularly have easy access to. So for example, if you have a laptop and you have a desktop computer, I'd rather you put it on a desktop computer. If you have a newer laptop that you regularly use and you have an older laptop that you never use, put it on the older laptop that you never use, okay? I wanna put this as far away from you as possible. I don't want you on your MacBook or on your laptop, and then as you're scrolling through stuff, you're just seeing, you know how sometimes even on Windows, it'll just randomly start showing you pictures on the start screen? No, okay? I don't want any of that popping up for you. So if we need to, we put it on an old computer, and even if it has to go on your current computer, make sure to bury it in a folder that isn't easily accessible to you. Don't name it like, oh, my photos that from the relationship with the guy that I was so in love. Don't name it that, right? Name it something generic and dump it in a folder of a folder of a folder of a folder that is really hard to access, okay? I'm really very serious about that. So pictures, videos, right? Those are examples of things that are direct, we'll call them. Now, you also want to delete out of your phone, out of your camera roll, screenshots as well. This is where a lot of you mess up. Because I know, see, I spend a lot of time with you, okay? And I take in your feedback, take in your words. I listen to your mind and your soul and your spirit. So I know some of the things that you do. Sometimes, right, a guy that you're talking to will send you a really nice message. Maybe he'll say something really sweet to you over text, right? Or DM, whatever the case. And you'll screenshot it, right? Because you want to keep that nice, sweet moment with you. Sometimes on the other extreme as well, a guy might say something really nasty to you. You guys might get into an argument, whatever the case, and you screenshot that because you kind of want to keep that either for evidence or just because you're like, I can't believe he said that to me, or maybe to send to a friend, right? Any one of those instances, I want to make sure that you get those out of your phone, because one of the things that you're going to start reminiscing on when you start missing him and feeling like, oh, maybe I should reach out. Oh, I want to think back to the good times that we have. You're going to start going through those screenshots to remember what your conversations, trust, I'm you, okay? Me and you, we're alike. I know what you're thinking, right? So I want you to get rid of those as well, right? Whether they're screenshots because he was being so sweet to you, or whether they're, like Lotus Flower just said, evidence screenshots, okay? So that's one. You're also gonna either delete, even those really can be deleted. You don't really need to save those, what memory is there in that, right? Or if you're too in pain to be able to delete them, dump them on an old computer, or at least bury them in your laptop or your computer in a way that is very difficult to access, okay? Now, the third one that I want you to take care of, I told you we're going through everything so you don't miss anything here, is indirect stuff. So when I say indirect, what I'm talking about is like, let's say he got you a gift. You took a photo of it, right? It's not him in the picture. It's not even you and him in the picture, but you know it's associated to him. Let's say he got you a promise ring. That could be an example of that, right? And you took pictures of the promise ring on your hand. When you look at the picture, you know the context of the picture, and your mind is going to replay a memory of that moment with that picture or that video, okay? That is included in the things you're going to now pack up and you're going to put them away now, or you're just going to delete them out of your phone, okay? Because all of those things are reminders, right? Some of you might feel like, but that's super small, but he's not even in that picture. I promise you, when you look at it, you're going to think of him. So it serves all the same purpose. All of these things, you're going to group up, right? And you're either going to, I'm giving you multiple options, so you can't give me an excuse why you couldn't do it. All of these things you're going to group up, and you're going to either put them on your laptop or your old computer, and you're going to bury them there so it's very difficult to find, okay? Now, or you're just going to delete them outright, right? Completely delete them out of your phone. Let's hop into point, or step, I should say, number 4. Now, this one, yeah. These next few, you guys really aren't going to like, okay? We're going to clear everything out here. Okay. So, number 4, I'm going to try my best to address every possible scenario. Okay. We'll do this. Okay. And then we also have another one for pics and videos. And we can even do, we'll even do memes. Okay. And then I'll draw another one, checkups. Okay. So gonna circle all of these. These are different things we're gonna discuss here. Okay. So for step number 4, we're going to deal with social media. Has to be dealt with appropriately. Now, if you guys have watched my show enough, you should know that I'm going to tell you you're going to have to do one of 2 things, okay? The decision is yours, whichever one you feel is best, but be honest with yourself. You're either going to block him on every platform, every single one, okay? Or you're going to both unfollow him or whatever the equivalent of unfollowing is on that platform. Sometimes it's unfriend, sometimes it's remove as a friend, right? And you're also going to remove him as a follower of yours, okay? You're going to do one of those 2. I don't want to hear nothing in between, okay? No halfway. Can I remove him as a follower and then he's still, no, he's not going to be still following you. The reason for this is because I know, I'm in your mind. Me and you were alike, okay? We share the same brain. I know that if he's still a follower of yours, you're going to start becoming obsessed with seeing if he's watching your story. You're going to start becoming obsessed with seeing if he's going to like your pictures, right? And you're not going to be able to properly detach if you're constantly checking up to see if he's checking up on you. We're putting ourselves in a weird loop here, okay? So you're going to clear things out by either blocking him, so it's completely out of sight, out of mind, or you're going to remove him as a follower as well, so it's for the most part out of sight, out of mind. Now, what I will say to that, for those of you who are thinking, okay, yeah, it'll be perfect for me, I'll just remove him as a follower and I'll unfollow him as well, right? For those of you who are thinking that, if you know you have a story watching problem, meaning that if you were to remove him as a follower, you're still going to be looking to see if he's watching your story. If you know you have that tick in your mind, just block him, okay? Just block him. Don't wait. Let's not waste any time here, okay? And this is where you're going to have some self-awareness, right? Some self-awareness and being able to be honest with yourself about how you usually operate. If you know you're going to start checking to see, did he watch this? Did he look at this? Did he like this? Just block so that he doesn't have access to it. You're not confused. Or if you're going to do the unfollow and remove him as a follower, make sure you're private so that he can't be looking at any of your stuff, okay? That could work as well. Now, we're also, as it relates to social media, going to have to clear out every remnants that you could return to as a memory, because memories also exist on social media, okay? So, conversation. You're going to have to go through, I'm so serious about this, every single platform where you guys have had conversation, and you're going to make sure to delete every message thread, okay? That includes conversations just in general. How was your day? Oh, you're looking good. Times where he'll reply to your story, okay? Where, oh my God, you look so sexy today. Oh my God, I love that outfit. He'll send you heart eyes, right? You're gonna delete those as well. Pictures and videos that you guys might send to each other over, whether it be Instagram DM, Facebook Messenger, Snapchat, okay, right? All of those get deleted, right? Memes as well, right? Any sort of checkups, any sort of messages. Here's the other thing about pictures and videos, okay? Because these apps are kind of funny nowadays. Things like Snapchat will also be saving, memories to the phone. So sometimes you might delete all of these pictures and videos out of your phone that you took with the guy. Some of you that are on the younger side and maybe use Snapchat every now and again might still have some Snapchat memories with that guy, right? That person or of them, whether directly or indirectly. You're also at this time going to go on Snapchat or any equivalent apps that might be holding or storing any pictures or videos of you, right? Even for some of you, we can also address the cloud, whether it be your iCloud, right? Or whether it be your, what's the equivalent of the cloud for your Google Cloud, right? If you're using Android, right? And make sure to go through that as well and clear out any remnants of whether it be direct pictures with him in it or indirect pictures that remind you of him or that involve him there, okay? Make sure to clear all of those out on social media, right? The whole purpose of this, why I'm being so specific with all of this, remember, we want to put as much friction and space between you and relapsing. If we're actually going to help you properly detach, we have to clear all the landmines that could get in your way when you're trying to properly detach. And sometimes if you're so sad about the situation, you'll forget to take care of a lot of these things, and then they'll trip you up before you can actually be prepared for them, okay? Now, this is the one, okay? I want all of you to listen up for. This step number 5, a lot of you are gonna hate. There's gonna be a lot of, I already know, there's gonna be controversy about this step. What about this? What if I have to, but Tomisin, what about this? And in this situation, if... I already know, okay? So we're gonna talk about this one, okay? We're gonna have a nice long conversation about this one, don't worry. And I'll explain how this needs to be done, all right? So point number 5 here. Okay? I already know some of you are not gonna like this, some of you are gonna have some pushback. So we're gonna discuss all possible scenarios, okay? And you can ask me about all of them. Okay, so we'll do a circle around this. Then we're gonna discuss this as well. We'll do a nice circle around that. And, then we have to touch on this as well. Okay. And we'll do a nice circle around that. Okay, so I already know you guys aren't gonna like this one. Step number 5 is the house clean. Probably the most important part of this process, because coming in contact with physical items will send you down a spiral, a very dark one. We're gonna address everything that you could possibly come across in your house, in your apartment, at your place, that will remind you of him, that will trip you up, that will make you feel like, oh, I need to message him, I need to text him, I need to call him, okay? Now, let's start with the easiest and most common one. We'll start off with clothes, okay? I'm gonna make a very simple rule that's gonna apply to really all 3 of these categories, but I want you to be thinking about so that no one's confused, because I know there's gonna be plenty of questions. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? If the item in question is over $100, okay, you're gonna put it in a, what we can categorize as expensive bag. I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna do with that, okay? If the item in question, whether it be clothes, small items, gifts, okay, is under $100, that could be anything here, okay? Anything that you could possibly come across physically. That is going to go in the disposable bag, okay? It's gonna be a trash bag, a black trash bag, right? Now, you're gonna take in all of those items, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what you're gonna do with that, right? So let's start off with the clothes, right? Any clothing item, whether it was gifted to you by him, okay? Or it's a clothing item that he left at your place, right? And let's say basketball shorts, a t-shirt, something like that, right? A hat, anything under $100, meaning the single item is under $100, that's gonna go in the disposable trash bag. That trash bag is clothes and items that you're just gonna get rid of them, okay? And let me explain to you how this is gonna work. So for small items can include things like his toothbrush, his hairbrush, something small like, I don't know, a nail file, something stupid like that, right? Gifts could be something small, a keychain, a small little cheap little ring. Maybe he got you a cheap ring, I don't know, right? Something under $100. Things that are small in nature, maybe they were gifted to you and they're not really that expensive, okay? All of those things under $100, you're gonna package up in your disposable trash bag. You're gonna take that disposable trash bag to a public trash can. So if you have an elementary school buy or like a public school buy that you can throw this trash at, or like some sort of public dumpster that you can throw this trash in, or just your overall your trash heap. If you live in an apartment building, you have your trash heap there, at least you can't access it, okay? Something public that you will not be able to access. The reason I say that, I don't want you keeping this in your trash bin and then you think back to it and you're like, no, I want to take that, I want to save that, I want to do this with that, I want to do this with, no. I want this to be somewhere where by the time you throw it away, it's gone. When you make the decision, it's gone forever. So you're not going to be conflicted about what to do with it, okay? That's for the disposable bag. Now, as it relates to clothes, items, and gifts that are over $100, this is where I know some of you will become confused. You'll start saying, but no, but this, but I want to save that, but what if he needs it? What if this, what if that, what if, okay. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do so there's no confusion, okay? If any clothing item, any small item, or any gift that either belongs to him, was gifted to you, like it's something for you, right? Or is just of his, right? Any one of those that is over $100, you put it in this expensive bag, like not an expensive bag, but I mean the bag in your mind is going to be labeled expensive items, right? And this bag is going to go, listen very carefully, this bag is going to go in a place in your house or apartment that you do not interact with on a daily basis, okay? I'm so very serious here, okay? I'm going to repeat this because I know some of you are like, wait, what does that mean? This expensive bag of clothes, small items, and gifts is going to go in a place in your apartment, in your house, at your place that is not interacted with by you on a daily basis. What does that mean? That means when you have to go to work, when you're having fun with friends, when you're doing your laundry, when you're on the computer, when you're laying down, right? There's places in your house that you use regularly. There's cupboards that you open regularly. There's, bins that you open regularly, things that you're always interacting with. There will always be a place at your place that you're not interacting with as much. There might be a small closet that you really don't interact with. There might be a small space, in the living room that you never interact with. There might be a specific cupboard that you never interact with. Figure out what that is, that place in your place is, and then put those items in that trash bag in that place that you basically never interact with. Why? Because this way, you'll rarely come across that bag in your everyday life in a way that will trigger you. This is why I don't want you to do what is probably going to be most natural to a lot of you when you're trying to house clean. Is you take these items, you put it in like a shoe box or something like that, or you put it in like a small baggie or a couple of baggies, and then you put that stuff in like a drawer that you always access, right? Or you put it in like your underwear drawer or something like that, something that you're interacting with on a daily basis. The problem with that is as you open that drawer, even though you might not necessarily see the items might be in a smaller box, you look at that box and then you remember all of those items. And what's likely to happen is when you start missing the guy, when you start feeling lonely, that box is going to be a reminder of everything that's in there. And you're going to want to peep in that box to look back on all the memories and things that you have of his still, right? So this is a problem, right? You don't want to be continuously accessing or interacting with items of the guy or with the guy that you are trying to actively detach from, okay? M says promise ring and engagement ring. See, this is perfect. Because I knew some of you would say, but this, but that, but I can't do this with that, right? So promise rings and engagement rings will fit into the category that I'm talking about literally right now, which is the expensive bag category. Meaning this stuff, right? You're going to have a box for it. You put it in that bag, and this bag is going to be in a place in your house, in your apartment, that you cannot access or interact with on a regular basis, okay? You just don't. And that's where that will go, at least until you can properly start moving forward and moving in the right direction, moving on from the relationship. Then at a later date, you can deal with those things, okay? Because I see Ivan said that you can sell the ring, right? Yes, you can sell the ring, but the reason this show is called How to Detach from Any Man is because I know if you have a lot of things in your mind where you're like, oh, I want to detach from him, but I still have the promise ring, I still have the engagement ring, so I have to figure out how to sell that right now. You don't have to figure out how to sell that right now. You don't, okay? You can still sell it in 3 months. So our goal here is to get you detached from the situation so you can start moving forward, right? And get over this. We need that to be the main priority. put those expensive items in that bag where you're not really going to see them or interact with them. Then as we've worked you through your feelings after a couple of months, right, and it's not still so fresh, you're not feeling like you're about to call him or message him every day, now you can start thinking about, okay, now I'm going to take that ring. Now I'm going to take that whatever it is, and I'm going to sell it and get some money for it, or whatever the case may be. Okay, right? We can still deal with those things, but that's why I want you to do that way. Does that make sense to all of you, right? Are we all on the same page? Someone said something important. Okay. Someone said, I think it's Walia. Is that how you say your name? I use the items often. This is a great question here. If you already interact with those items often, unfortunately, if you really want to detach from that guy, you're going to have to get rid of those items. So you're either going to have to find a replacement for that item, or you're going to have to figure out how to live your daily life outside of that item, okay? Because Walia said Zara perfume, a gold watch, handbag, shoes, jumpers, right? You can always get either a duplicate of the same perfume if you really love that one, or a different perfume. You're not gonna unalive yourself if you use a different perfume. Same thing with the watch. You can always wear a different one, or just stop wearing that one and replace it with a bracelet or something like that. Handbags, you have plenty of handbags that you can wear. Shoes, the same thing, and jumpers, the same thing. But you just have to make a decision and say, for my mental health right now, I can't be interacting with those items, okay? Because once again, it's just more things that's going to send you down a spiral. We don't want you to go down a spiral, right? Ivan says it's passed, but if you block, there will be a block list. You can always reach the number. Oh, you're talking about on your block list? Yes, that is true, Ivan. But I would rather there be more steps between you and messaging the guy than less. Because the other option is don't put it on a block list, and then all of a sudden he might message you and now you don't know what to do. Now you're conflicted on whether to respond or not. So I'd rather you have it on a block list where you have to go in this setting and go in that setting and then access this and access that. And then you still have to kind of remember which number it is, because it's just going to be a bunch of random numbers in random orders to find the number to actually message him. That is way more friction than not having him blocked, and then he messages you and then you're like, oh boy, I don't know what to do now, right? So let's hop into step number 6. Okay. All right. This one too, I will say not a lot of people talk about, but I know this can be something hard to get over, because of how nobody really addresses it or talks about it, right? Or how it affects you. So we'll talk about this point here. I don't think you guys are gonna like this one as well, to be honest. Okay. We'll do this like this. This one is actually gonna be a drawing, because that's the best way for me to get this point across. Okay, so we're drawing you here. I didn't give you too much of an hourglass body today. It's okay though, you're still beautiful. And I'm gonna do that. We're also gonna say, and then, oh boy, chat, the drawing I go through for you all, that's how you know I love you. Then we're gonna draw his big egghead here. We're gonna draw him like this. He's balding, so that's how he's looking. Okay, so that look right? That kind of looks right. Okay, we're gonna discuss step number 6 here, which we're gonna talk about music and movies, because this is something that gets neglected, but then ends up being a landmine down the line, and then you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I want to call him, I want to message him, I want to text him, I want to cuddle him. Any playlists, musical playlist that you share with him, or that you made with him, or that you made for the purpose of, let's say, sleeping with him, right? Sex playlist, delete them. I know it sucks. I know that the songs are so good and then they're so amazing and you love listening to them on a regular delete the playlist. Okay? The playlist is another thing. You'll see it. The whole playlist will represent him. All the songs will like bring you back to the moments you guys were, especially if you were one of those people where you and the guy were listening to specific songs, like a sex playlist, while you guys would have sex regularly. Think about how much of an association that music will have in your brain to like him inserting himself inside of you in the most intimate, vulnerable times of your relationship. Get rid of that playlist. Get rid of those songs, okay? Now, I'm not saying if you hear the song in the store or something at Zara that you got to run out of the store, but what we don't want, right? We don't want that music easily accessible to you that you're going to say, oh, I'm just going to replay 30 times my favorite song with him and just stare at the ceiling and just think about how much I miss him and how much we're not getting where we want to get here, okay? So once again, we need to put friction between you and these landmines that will begin to trigger you, okay? So no playlist. You're going to delete them all out of your phone. You're also going to delete, like, think of the top 10 songs that really remind you of that guy, whether it be directly because, you know, you guys listened to it together and you guys loved it together. It's like your song, or it was an our song type of song, or songs that maybe he put you onto, right? And because he put you onto that song, like you discovered it from him, it always reminds you of him, or just songs in general that when you listen to it, the lyrics feel so specific to you and your relationship with him that it's like, it feels like it's your song about him, right? Those type of songs, all of those, just delete them out of your library. At least for right now, we need you to be in a sane place. We can't have you relapsing. So for right now, we don't want those songs at the front of your playlist where every time you open your phone and you go to listen to music, it's like the first song is the favorite song that you guys used to dance to all the time that you wanted to get married to. We don't want that to be at the front of your playlist and in the front of your face every single day. So you're going to address that. Now, the other thing with movies, okay, this is where some of you are probably not going to like this. Any shows that you feel like you guys watched it together so much that it became your show together, like this is our show, like any shows that you would watch it, and if you were to watch it by yourself without him, he would be upset, and if he were to watch it by himself without you, you would be upset. Any of those shows or movies, right, those just stop watching them for the time being, okay? Don't have them in front of your face, and don't have them on replay in your house when you're bored or something like that, okay? For the time, even if it's your favorite TV show, even if it's your favorite series, for now, we need to help you work through your feelings and work through your emotions. We don't want you relapsing. We don't need to put you in a place that you're more emotionally triggered because you're sitting there and you're watching like Grey's Anatomy or something and you're like, oh my God, I used to love watching Grey's Anatomy with them. So we can't have you doing that, okay? All right, let's hop into step number 7 here, okay? We're gonna discuss everything. Now, these next few steps are less obvious and more easy to trip up in, okay? Because some of you might be saying, Thompson, I know I'm supposed to block him. I know I'm supposed to do this. I know I'm supposed to do that, right? That's easy stuff, okay? This is the type of stuff here that will easily get anyone tripped up if they do not address it, okay? And you're gonna have to be proactive with all of these. So you'll see exactly why I'm saying that like that in a second. So we're gonna talk about this. I'll draw this in this way. I hope this will visualize it well, but I will try my best to explain it even if the visual isn't perfect. Okay. And then we're gonna draw him as well. Okay. Like that. Okay. Now, I'm gonna draw some tiny humans beneath both of you, and you'll see why. Okay, these are his tiny humans. Okay, and then we're gonna draw some tiny humans up here too, and you'll see who these people are in a second. Okay. So this might look complicated, but I'll explain. So for step number 7, we're going to discuss friends. Now, the way that this diagram is supposed to work is you're going to have friends. Whenever you get into a relationship with a guy or a situationship, whatever, you're going to have friends that were already existing in your life before you met that guy, whether it be girlfriends, guy friends. I don't advise you to have too many best guy friends, but let's just say you did, right? You're going to have some of these people, they're already in your life beforehand. These are what we can classify as your people, right? And your man is going to have his own version of that as well. People that he knew and messed with and hung out with since before he ever met you, okay? Now, here's the part that gets very tricky. When you start talking to a man, when you build a relationship with a guy, you're also going to have people that you meet along the way for the first time, both of you together. And so these people might know both of you literally equally and might not have any affinity or affection for one of you more than the other because they met you at the same time. This is where things get very confusing, and this is where a lot of people go wrong when they're trying to detach. You're going to have to do something, while very painful and unfortunate, has to happen if you're going to be serious about detaching from a man for real, for real. You're going to have a conversation with these people, these mutual people, right? These mutual friends, we can describe them as. And you're going to have to gauge, where do these people stand now that the relationship is over? The reason you're going to have to gauge this is because you're going to have to make it clear, I'm not interested at this point in my life in pulling up if my old guy, okay, my ex, however you want to describe him, is going to be there. And this has to be clearly communicated to these mutual friends so they understand, look, you're either going to have to invite me and not him, or if you want to invite him, you can't invite me, or I'm not coming. And there has to be a clear understanding of that, because what I don't want is I don't want you hanging out with these mutual friends. And then every time you hang out with these mutual friends, because they are also his friend, he now is a part of every hangout, every function, every party. And then the guy that you're trying to detach from, you're seeing basically every weekend because you're hanging out with all these mutual friends and they're always inviting your guy. Now we just go back to square one. All the work that you were doing before to clean your house and clear the social media just goes out the window when he's there constantly. And of course, you know, come on, you're smart. You know, when that guy sees you in person and he knows you're trying to detach, you're trying to pull away, he's going to press the issue and he's not going to leave you alone until he gets you to acknowledge him. And it's just going to be a wild, wild mess. Okay. So what you must do at this time, you need to see, okay, maybe Stacy, she's rocking with me. All right. She don't have a problem hanging out with me and not including him. Maybe James over here, he's rocking with my ex. And, it's going to be an issue if, I want to be around and he's not around. Right. And you just got to kind of pick over here one by one, all these different mutual friends. You got to kind of get a feel out. What are they on? All right, who you rocking with? You got to pick a side. Not that they have to pick a side in the sense where they have to say, oh, I'm never going to talk to this guy ever again. I'm never going to hang out with him. But just as an understanding of like, okay, I really don't want to be around him. I really don't want to see it. It's not that I'm scared of him or anything like that, but I want to set a boundary because I want to move forward with my life, not continue seeing him over and over and over again, right? That's a mature way to go about things. And you have to be forward thinking enough to stand up for yourself and not allow yourself to just randomly be put in a situation and then you don't know what to do, right? Because what will happen a lot of the times is you'll feel like, okay, well, I don't want to say anything and I don't want to cause problems and I don't want to be a drama queen, right? And so in the process of you not saying anything, they'll invite you out to a party and then lo and behold, he's there and now you're fumbling and stumbling. You don't know what to do and what to say because you didn't build a strategy for this, right? This is part of why we're building a strategy so you can be prepared for everything, okay? So you're going to have to figure out which one of these mutual friends is arranging where. What also I would advise you to do during this time while you're figuring out where these mutual friends land is put more of an emphasis and focus on spending time with your people. Because what should be happening is when you guys have your breakup, you guys were to have his people or his people back again, and your people or your people back again. Sometimes I'm going to warn you that this does happen. Sometimes some exes, right? They will try and infiltrate this circle right here, okay? I know it's probably happened to some of you before. Whether it be girls and guys or all girls, whatever it is, they'll try and include themselves in here. Why? Because they know if you're trying to detach from him and you're really serious about that, they know you're not going to pull up on them. They'll never see you. But if they infiltrate themselves here, they know the likelihood of seeing you or coming across you is way higher. So they'll try and make friends with your friends, your people, knowing that it's indirectly going to put them in your path. All right. So be aware of that. You're also going to have a conversation. If you start noticing that, or you start getting that feeling like he's trying to make friends with your inner circle, right? The circle that was your inner circle before you even met him, to try and get closer to you, you're going to have a very clear and honest conversation with these people and say, look, we can't be doing this. I don't want to see him. I don't want to hang out with him. I don't want him to be around. I know he might seem like he's really cool to you. I know he might seem like he has no issues to you, but I don't want to be around him, especially when I'm hanging out with you guys, right? And this is another one of those places you're going to have to stand up for yourself, because you don't want to be in a landmine and you don't want to be blindsided when you pull up to one of your girlfriend's parties. Imagine this, because I know this happens to some of you. You pull up to one of your best girlfriend's birthday parties, and when you pull up, he's there. And you're like, what? You're so shocked. And you're just in a paralyzed position because you didn't even anticipate this, that you don't even know what to do now, right? And you don't know what to say now. And you don't know how to even go about your night now, right? So these are conversations that you're going to have and things that are going to be have to be addressed, okay? Are we on the same page? Patsy says, don't let him in. Some of the times too as well, the guy will be smart enough to not ask you to let him in. He'll try and make cool with these people and pretend like everything's all good so that they'll let him in themselves, right? That's the sneaky part of it. Trust me, Chad, I've seen it happen. I see it happen a lot, actually. Let's hop into our 8th point. Okay, let me use this one. It's a lot of drawing I was doing on that one. This one will, this 8th point here, or 8th step, I should say, these are all steps, is one of the easiest ways to trip yourself up. So we're going to address, because I have a sneaky suspicion, some of you will not want to address this. This is another one that's going to make some of you kind of mad. Okay. I know you want to say, oh, I don't have this problem. Oh, this is not an issue for me. Trust me. We'll go like this. We'll put here. We'll put here that. And then we're going to come like this. Okay, and then we're going to do our last one here. We'll put this here and coming back here. Okay, so for step number 8, we're going to discuss the toxic cycle, right? This is one I know a lot of you aren't going to like, but we have to be honest with ourselves. Trust me, I've been there as well. If you are ending a relationship with a guy, situationship, however you want to describe it, and you're trying to actually work through your feelings to move forward with your life, you need to help yourself, not self-sabotage yourself. One of the easiest ways to self-sabotage yourself is to be overly intensely emotional because you're in a heightened emotional state. What is an example of a heightened emotional state? Is when you go out to the club and you're super drunk with your girls, right? And your girls are out, they're dancing with guys, and let's say, none of the guys there are your type, none of them are your vibe, but they're seeming to enjoy themselves. And now you feel you're already off the Casamigos, you're already off the hen dog. And it's just doing something to you because now you're reminiscing on how you and that guy used to dance and how you guys used to have a great connection and how you're not connecting with any of these guys right here. And it's so disappointing. And see, this is the problem, right? If you have an issue when it comes to going out and getting drunk, or for some of you, it might be getting high, taking whatever you take when you go out and you want to party and have a good time, and it puts you in this heightened emotional state, that is the exact moment you're going to start making a lot of mistakes. That is the exact moment. What are you going to do? Now it's 1:30, 2 a.m. at the club. What are you going to do? You're going to pull out your phone. You're going to be wobbling. You're going to be like, oh, I want to text them so bad. You're going to say to your friends, oh my gosh, I want to text them so bad. They're going to say, no, don't text him. And then you're going to go to the bathroom by yourself, right? And then when you're on your own, you're going to say, please, I miss you so much. I just want to speak to you. I can't do this. Horrible. And then we go all the way back to square one. Right? Just because of a drunk moment, right? You get drunk, you get high, you get emotional, you reach out, you go back, and then we start all over again. Let me add something else as well that isn't on here, okay? The other thing as well, because all of these things are going to create a void, is sex. And specifically, I'm talking about meaningless sex. Because what will happen sometimes is, let's say there was a guy you really actually liked, like you really were into him. You really saw yourself with him for a long period of time. And now you're no longer with him. That's disappointing. But now that you're no longer with him, you have, let's say, some people who you never took seriously, but they're a good time, okay? You know the type of guy you're thinking of, right? There's guys in your life, for some of you, for a lot of you, that you might have that at one point or another you messed with. He's got good D game. He's funny. You know, he's a good time. You'd never take him seriously. Not a chance. You know he's a player. You know he's out there. You know he's not trying to wife up no girl. So you're never actually going to be invested in a real relationship with him. But he's fun enough that you could spin the block on him anytime. Go back to him anytime, and he's always open arms to being able to have a good time. I'm not talking about your guy. I'm talking about like a side guy that you're not really focused on, right? But these good time guys are usually the guys you'll spin the block on when you're trying to work yourself over the guy that you really care about. So, but this is a problem. When you start doing this over and over again, it doesn't leave you any more fulfilled. It just leaves you more and more with the void. Because even though you might go out and you might get drunk and high with the side guy, right? You might get drunk and high with the fun guy, the guy that's just like a good time, right? And you might also be sleeping with him. Yeah, it feels good in the moment, but then you start to feel more and more of that void, right? And every time you guys sleep together and then you think back to yourself, yeah, that was cool, but we really aren't building anything. Yeah, that was cool, but you're not like my guy, right? And you're just reminded over and over again, wow, I really miss him. Wow, it's not the same. Wow, when you kiss me, when you touch me, it doesn't feel the same as when he was kissing me and when he was touching me, right? All of that is gonna heighten your emotional state and make the feelings even more intense, right? Which is gonna lead you to being more likely to reach out to him, which is gonna lead you to being more likely to go back to him. All of these things are very, very bad. Avoid this toxic cycle at all costs, okay? I'm not saying don't have fun and don't enjoy yourself, okay? I'm not saying if you feel like blowing off some steam by going to the club and shaking your ass to Sexy Red that you can't do that. I'm not saying don't go out and wear a nice tight dress and feel sexy again, feel good about it. I'm not saying don't do that. But what I am saying is manage this. Don't allow yourself to fall into a toxic cycle where you're doing things that will put you in that heightened emotional state and then have you acting a fool doing what you know you're not supposed to be doing. Because I promise you, these are the times where you'll be doing that, okay? If you're gonna go out, if you're gonna have fun, try as much as you can, okay? As much as you possibly can. Eliminate these, okay? So meaningless sex, eliminate that. Try not to overdo the drinking. And try not to overdo the whatever it is you like to do, whether you like to smoke, whether you like to take party drugs, whatever you like to do, okay? Just simply because you'll put yourself in this cycle, I promise you, and then everything will be ruined. I'm telling you this from real experience, okay? Right? Let's hop into our 9th step here, okay? Try to get everything, chat. Every single thing. Because we want you on the right path to success, okay? Now, this 9th one is where we're gonna start. Now that we've taken care of a lot of stuff, this is where we can really start progressing here. Okay. So we're gonna have, we'll call this a list. And on this list, we'll have 3. And we'll say this one is daily, weekly, and monthly. Okay, so what we want to do here for step number 9, we want to give you like 3 months. You know how talking stages usually last 3 months? For this part of detaching from a man, we're going to give you 3 months. 3 months to properly detach from this man. Now, what we want to do within this 3 months is we want to give you a goal. So we want to give you a 3-month goal that is attainable and possible, realistic, that you can reach for yourself. Now, I don't need that goal to be anything like, oh, I need to save world hunger. I need to save a cat from a tree. I need to lose 100 pounds. Like, it doesn't have to be extreme. It can be just something small, but we want it to be something that you can reach on a 3-month scale. And then once you have that 3-month goal, we want to break that down into daily, smaller goals that you can reach. Leading towards that 3-month goal, weekly smaller goals that you can reach leading towards that 3-month goal, and then monthly smaller goals that you can reach leading towards that overall goal. What does this have to do with detaching from a man? Because what we must make sure that we do is, see, missing someone is not a crime, okay? That's not going to make you feel that depressed. You'll be depressed for a little bit, you'll be sad for a little bit, but then eventually things will get better. The worst feeling you'll have whenever you're getting over a relationship or getting over a guy or getting through your feelings for him, the worst feeling you'll have is going through all the time where you were missing him, the months that you were sad about the relationship, and then looking back on what you did with that time and realizing you did so little, basically nothing, that you're now behind in life. Right? Or you're now in a worse position in your own personal life because you sat around doing nothing but being sad the entire time. What also this does is this allows you to have something to focus your time, energy, and mind on a daily basis, right? That you're reaching toward, that you're pushing towards. The reason this is so important is energy goes and energy flows. So if you don't have energy flowing in some sort of direction, it's going to leak into the places that aren't as productive for you, which is just sitting around, being toxic, or doing things that you're not supposed to be doing, trying to fill the void with people that are meaningless to you, sex, drugs, alcohol, right? Energy is going to go somewhere. So we want to be the ones in control of your energy and channel it in the right places, in a place where, even though you're sad for these 3 months, at least by the time you accomplish all of these daily, weekly, and monthly goals, you'll get to the end of the 3 months and you'll be like, I actually don't feel as horrible as I used to feel. And I'm better in this particular area, whatever it is that you've been working on for those 3 months. For example, you could say, okay, I want to have way better skin by the end of these 3 months, okay? Because since I've been stressed out with this guy, I've had pimples all over my face. I haven't been washing my face. I've been going to sleep crying sometimes. I've been going to sleep at his place with my makeup on, and my face is just not looking how it's supposed to look. I'm gonna dedicate these 3 months to taking care of my skin, taking care of my hair again, looking healthy and nice and beautiful, and actually, caring for myself now. Now I'm gonna have some daily goals of how I'm gonna do this, how I'm gonna wash my face, how I'm gonna do my makeup, whatever I'm gonna implement. I'm gonna start doing chemical peel, whatever you wanna do, okay, right? Your weekly goals and your monthly goals, so that by the time you get to the end of the 3 months, you're like, oh, my skin looks a lot better. I look so much less bloated. I look so much better, whatever, right? Whatever it is that you want to do and you want to accomplish. I promise you, when you can add this and accomplish this at that 3 month mark, even at that 2 month and 1 month mark, you'll start to feel better about yourself, because you'll also feel internally like, oh, like, I'm not having this guy in my life, but my life's actually kind of better, right? And it's also good for you to recognize that, like, hey, he's not here in my life anymore, but my life isn't garbage, right? My life's actually good. My life's actually fun. I look in the mirror, I actually look better than I did when I was with him. There also is a very important psychological effect to all of that, okay? Does that make sense, right? Miss Fire says 3 months. I'm still suffering from some guy 1.5 years ago. It's okay. It's okay. We're all human. We're all human. The 3-month timeline is just a general timeline that at least by month number 3, you can start to feel a little bit better. Okay. We can get on a little bit of a brighter path if we say it like that. Okay. Let's hop into our 10th step. Okay. This eraser not really doing. I gotta get a new eraser. Step number 10. Okay. All right, so for this one, you guys are gonna laugh. Oops. Why am I writing that like that? Can you guys see that? It's kind of small. Yeah, you guys can see it. It's okay. It's okay. So we're gonna do this. Make the visual nice and simple for you. Okay. You will draw your hair here. And then we're gonna draw, gonna draw a proper head for you here. And you'll see, wow, I'm doing this like this. You're gonna be sad in both, so it's okay. Being sad is okay. It's okay to be sad sometimes. All right, there we go. The sun, if you guys didn't know what that was. Okay, so let's discuss this. For step number 10, you're gonna have to leave your room. Now, I know you might be laughing at this, like this is such a stupid, silly point, such an unprofessional way of going about this. I don't think that really matters. Let me explain to you why this is important. You can be sad. I don't want you or expect you to not have feelings, not feel things, not feel like, hey, I missed the guy, right? I don't need you to be a robot. I also don't need you to avoid your feelings. That's not what the whole show is about, right? Pretending as if you don't care about the guy when you do. That's not what I need you to do. I actually expect you to be sad and expect you to feel things. Here's the difference though. If you're sad and you stay in your room and you just look at the same 4 walls, right, for hours on end, and you do nothing, and you stay in bed, and you just continue listening to the same music that reminds you of him, watching all the TV shows, scrolling through all the pictures on your phone, I promise you, you will be so much more miserable, 100%. And the sadness that is sad will feel 100 times more intense unnecessarily though. Do you get what I'm saying? Because you can be sad, but doing things that will make that sadness even more painful and more unbearable is just torture for no reason. And it doesn't need to be like that. The best thing for you to do is while you're sad, step outside of your house. Sometimes, and I know this is going to sound really weird, really hippie and spiritual. When you're in your house or your apartment, right? Even just being in there for too long, you're smelling the inside air of your apartment. I'm telling you, there's something to it. And it's just everything is just the same, and you're looking around, it's just it will drive you crazy sometimes. And it'll make that feeling of oh, I'm just trapped, I'm lonely, I don't know what to do. It'll make it feel like it's the end of the world. I promise you, this happens to me all the time. You can feel sadness, and then you literally walk outside, and you're like, huh, I'm not that sad anymore. When you see sunshine, it's like something just happens to your brain and the way that we function as human beings. You're like, yeah, I'm still sad, but it's really not that serious. It's not that overwhelming of a feeling anymore. And for some of you, this is where you just have to get creative with whatever it is that you're into, right? It might be going for a walk, right? It doesn't have to be go outside and shake my ass to Sexy Red in the club, right? It can just be, I want to go outside and go for a walk today, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, the evening, the nighttime. if your area is dangerous, you might say, I want to go for a drive, right? Morning, afternoon, or nighttime. Or whether it be, you like to go for bike rides, and then you just go for a bike ride with no destination. You just bike around until you're tired, and then you come back. I promise you, be sad, and get some sun. It will feel a lot better than being sad and staying inside. I promise you, being sad and staying inside is going to make you feel horrible. And it's happened to me many times where I've been sad, I went outside, and I'm like, I actually don't feel that bad anymore. And then you come back and you can still do what you were going to do, but at least you've got some sun and you feel a little bit better about the situation, okay? Now, do you guys have any questions about the 10 that we just discussed here today on today's show here, okay? Any questions? I want to make sure that I address as many as I can because I know this was a very important show, okay? Pazzy says, my longest crush lasted 10 plus years. Misery, 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 misery. Today, I can look at a pic of him and think about a memory and feel natural. I thought it was hopeless, but I got there eventually. That's the other amazing part about relationships, the mind, and love is that, yes, when you first get out of it, you're going to feel like I would never even be able to not be sad thinking about not being with that person. And then, it's just like you just one day at a time, and then another day, and then another day, and then months, and then sometimes years. And then eventually you get to a point where you're just like, hey, I recognize that situation happened. And yes, I had good memories with them, but am I literally on the floor crying every day anymore? No. Right? And that's just part of life. But you have to be able to recognize that point eventually will come and do these type of things to be able to help yourself get through the days. Does that make sense? PH Joy says, a shift of perspective. I just changed scenery makes all the difference. It does. But this is even one of those things where it feels silly when you make it so simple, but then when you're in it, when you're not thinking about how it affects you, sometimes it's harder to say, this is what I need to do to make myself feel better, right? Sometimes when you're sitting in your room, you don't realize that the way to not feel as miserable as you do sitting in your room is just by going outside. But being able to recognize that, whether it be from me talking about it or from your own realizations of the things that you've been through, is such an important part of being able to work through the situation when you're actually in it. Does that make sense, right? Oriana says, my question is it possible to find a real relationship when the woman is 40 plus? Absolutely. Why would it not be possible for you to find a real relationship when you're 40 plus? Now, the way that you go about dating is going to have to be a little bit different because you're going to have to understand, okay, the guys who I'm dating who are over the age of 40, I need to get a really clear understanding of what they're about, why they're still single, and what their relationships have been like in the past. Because when you're at 40 and you're dating other men who are 40 or 40 plus, you have to understand none of these men are going to change anything about themselves. That doesn't necessarily mean they're all bad people, but you're not going to meet a guy and then somehow, some way in 3 months, he's going to be just like your dream man when he wasn't that when you first met him. So you really have to be very fixated on what are the most important things to me. What qualities and character traits must a man possess that I can work with and want and desire? And what are some of the things that I can compromise on that aren't as important to me that I could give, right? Because you're never going to get an absolutely perfect human being, even if you're dating in your 20s, right? And so being able to be more self-aware about yourself, what works with you, what doesn't work with you, what personality styles mesh with you and what don't mesh with you, is really going to be important to your dating life, okay? Keek says, absolutely, just keep yourself up. My great aunt did it at 62. Oh, you're talking about dating when you're 40 plus, 100%, okay? Sun Queen says, if you run into him, happenstance, pretend he's invisible, never acknowledge him, stay quiet and run. Well, you don't have to run, but we definitely, I know I could advise a lot of you to say, hey, just completely ignore that guy. Don't think about him. Don't address him, even if you see him in person. But I know that's so much easier said than done. And not everyone has that personality where if they see someone that they used to love, that they used to mess with, that they used to be intimate with out in person, it's going to be very difficult for them to just be like, whatever, I don't care about you, right? So I try to accommodate all the different personality styles and not assume that everyone is capable of the same thing, right? Even though that would be ideal if you saw him out by chance, that you just completely ignored him, right? I'd rather give you a strategy for those of you who might not have that personality style. PH says he just messaged me after 2 weeks. He gave a reason for not being in touch. I need to go swimming. I always say, whenever it comes to talking to a guy and he disappears on you and it's been over 2 weeks and then he comes back and whatever the case may be, my personal opinion, there really is no excuse that someone couldn't reach out to you or say anything to you in a 2-week time span. You all right? 3 days, for sure. 5 days, for sure. 1 week even, I understand. A week and a half, cool. 2 weeks, you had some time to reach out, address me, at least even if you weren't gonna like have a full conversation with me, let me know what's going on. If you can't be bothered to do that in a 2-week time span, then you really don't care that much. That's why I say at that point, to me, I consider after the 2 weeks, he's technically spinning the block on you, because after 2 weeks, he couldn't be bothered to reach out to you, or it wasn't important for him to contact you, and then now he's deciding it's important for him to contact you. That's considered spinning the block to me. Haven't answered back. Got to review 5 tips for what you do when he comes back, right? It also depends on what is the initial reason that he even left and what your relationship was with him before that as well, right? Capella says, yeah, I thought people being over 40 would have their ish together. Absolutely not. Oh, 100% not. That's definitely not the case, especially for guys too. You have to factor in, as like the reality is, as you get older, right? The men, let's just be real, the men who are the easiest to, the most desirable, like in terms of partners, are usually going to be married at that point. Now, of course, you might have some actually really good, amazing men that might be widowed or be a widower. You get my point, right? Their partner maybe passed away or something like really tragic or strange or weird happened. That reason that, so they're perfectly good people to be in relationships with. It's just something out of the ordinary happened. There also could be good people when you're at that age when it comes to men, but you definitely do have to be very curious at that point, and you really have to be focused on understanding what does that guy want, right? Like, what does he desire for himself? And at this point in his life, how important is marriage or a serious relationship? Because some people are 40, some men, they're 40 something, right? And they might even be pretty desirable looking. They might be attractive guys with money and status and resources. And then you're like, oh, this is a perfect guy for me to date. But the reason he's single still is because he doesn't actually commit. He dates a bunch of people, but he likes to just stay in the dating stage, which is why he's an attractive partner, but hasn't committed to any one person in general, right? So you always have to kind of do a lot of feeling out and see, what are you really about at this point in your life, okay? Stella says, he gave me the silent treatment after canceling 2 dates with him last minute. That happened 3 weeks ago. I feel like I had to apologize. So what did you do? Did you apologize? You saying like you feel like you had to apologize. So, I mean, why did you cancel the 2 dates, and how did you approach the canceling of the dates? There's a way to cancel a date in a way where someone feels like you genuinely had something to do. Then there's a way to cancel a date in a way that probably feels like you're blowing them off, right? So I'd also have to know how you actually went about that, because sometimes you might not have the intention of blowing someone off, but it might come across as you're blowing them off. We had, I think it was on the last show, someone was asking a question, and in the process of her asking a question about her situation, she was explaining how the guy was saying, yeah, when is the next time that you want to see me or whatever? And she was like, oh, I'll let you know. And then she never let him know. But that can become a problem, because he might take the I'll let you know as I don't really want to hang out if you don't give an actual date or follow up on that, right? Henya says, I had to realize my part in it all. Now I'm humble of the situation, your situation. PH Joy says, this guy was a soldier for a couple of decades. And has been married 2 times. So, oh, you're talking about the one of the guys you're dating? That's fine. But then you're okay. So, as a soldier, you have to ask him, how did being a soldier affect his marriages? And I mean, where is he now? Is he still a soldier? You said he was a soldier, so I'm assuming like now he's just having, a regular life. But what are some of the things that he learned from his past marriages that may have been leading to them not working? The reason I want you to ask him that question and you to get that answer is because you also have to see if those issues are still present in his life now. Like, for example, if he says, okay, well, the distance in me being a soldier is what really led mostly to my relationships or my marriages ending before, then now you have a conversation about, okay, so where your life is at now, do you feel like that would still be an issue? How do you think that your relationship would go now that you're not in the army or a soldier anymore? The other thing as well to try and understand about that guy is what does he think of himself now? How does he identify himself? Sometimes I know with people that were in the army, the Navy, served their country, you can identify with that so heavy that when you're no longer serving your country, it's hard to find your identity outside of that when you are returning back to being a regular civilian, so to speak. So some men have that issue where they kind of have an identity crisis. So the other question that I would ask him is to basically try and understand, does he or does he not have an identity crisis at this point? Because that could also rub off on your relationship as well in a negative way if he doesn't feel like he has that identity yet, right? Okay. Deja says he always would reach out, but never wanted to commit. I stopped playing that game and what? I never wanted to commit. I stopped playing that game and also wasn't intentional when he did reach out. It was always, hey. I mean, if he's not being intentional, there's only so much that you're supposed to even be doing in the first place. So if he's just reaching out with low quality, but never trying to make any plans, never trying to do anything but chit chat, then there's only so much you could do there. Only so much you could do, right? Real life Capella says, so true. I met an air traffic controller many years ago. He was fine, paid, and picked me up in a luxury vehicle. I went on one date and blocked him. I see he will never commit. Sometimes that be the case, So I've noticed that with sometimes when you guys will come to me with your private questions and you're dating like a millionaire or you're dating rappers or dating musicians, people that are really successful. Nothing wrong with dating a successful guy, but sometimes the older successful guys that are still single, you'll almost be asking yourself, how are you still single? You're attractive, you're confident, you speak well, you're like you look like you have your stuff together. There's nothing weird or strange about you, and it's really just simply he's exercising all his options. So the fact that he's so attractive to many women, he's literally like, hey, I'll just be this forever. I'll be 50 handsome and rich. I'll be 40 handsome and rich, and I'll just continue to date as many girls as I possibly can while I have all of these resources. And they're just not interested in committing to anyone. Okay. Her story here is titled Fairy Tale to Nightmare, Britney's Viral TikTok Story. So because it's in a compilation here, we'll just watch it here on via YouTube, and we'll see it all in one big lump sum. Okay, so let's start off with this.
Okay, so I normally wouldn't come on here and bash any of my exes. If we go through a breakup, I'm not going to badmouth them or anything. However, this is a story that needs to be told. It needs to be out in the open so people are aware that these things happen, and you don't think it's going to happen until it happens to you. So it is time for me to break my silence and tell you guys my story. So back in May, I met a guy on here on TikTok. Things were great. We were FaceTiming. I was flying out to see him in Texas. We were just like, we really caught a good vibe and we were rocking and rolling. Next thing leads to another, and he's wanting me to move out there. So after 3 months of knowing this guy, I decide I'm going to pack up everything.
Oh, wait a second. She said 3 months, but she put 3 months on this, or 1 month on the screen. So after 1 month of knowing this guy via TikTok, so basically she don't know this guy, he wants her to move in. That's very strange.
And move out there because for some reason I wanted to get out of this town, and this was like a way out for me. And I thought it would be fun. I love this guy, and what could go wrong?
Wait, after 1 month, you loved this? Well, I'm assuming she means like the general sense. I loved this guy. She more. I think it's more about you wanted to move out. Because I've been around. Sometimes when you're really tired of being in the same place all the time and you really want to spread your wings, you can start to feel like, okay, well, I want to be on my own. And then you might feel like, well, there's bills, there's this, there's that. And then your only way of moving out is like being with someone. But that's not a reason to be with someone.
So before deciding that I'm going to go out to Texas, I chose to investigate this guy and, kind of make sure he's a good guy to move out there with, because I'm moving 13 hours away. So as a realtor, we have a forewarn app, which is where you can look up any stranger you're about to show a house to or anything like that, and it shows you their criminal background record, all of that stuff, so that you remain safe. So I look him up on my forewarn app. His slate is clean. Everything on there is perfect. There's no charges. He seems to be a great guy on paper. So therefore, I decide, okay, I'm going to move out to Texas with him. So on June 24th, we moved out to Texas.
There's still so many things that you have to like know about a person though. I guess she just assumed like it was only criminal things were relevant. I'm just wondering, how much could you possibly know someone in the one, because she put 1 month on the screen.
On June 29th, on my birthday, I get a text from my mom, and this is a screenshot of his mugshot. Now,
I thought she said her software is able to detect this type of stuff. This is. I'll just ask a question. This is this any of your type in the chat? I don't know what girl's type is. Is this a type? What's that? What's this type called?
It's a charge for harassment. When I asked him about it, he basically chalked it up to misunderstanding. Nothing should have happened, whatever. So me, like, I have no reason not to trust this man. So, okay, I'm going to go with it.
Wait.
Little did I know. So a month of me being out there, everything was fine up until the last of it. But we were traveling, we were doing things together, we were like playing house and everything. It was great while it lasted. Now he was starting to get a little bit controlling, saying things like I couldn't wear certain bikinis, I couldn't drink when I wanted to, I couldn't like watch The Bachelor or any TV show that I love to watch.
Bro, I heard some crazy things in my time, some controlling things in my time. I have never. I'm not laughing at her or her pain, but I have never heard of a guy saying you cannot watch a show. That's a new one. That's a new. I wonder what his reasoning was. You can't watch The Bachelor?
I was not allowed to do these things. So red flags in my head are going off. I'm already kind of like weary that he's starting to be controlling, and I don't like that. So now we get into the story. August 1st, we had a river trip planned to New Braunfels with his brother, his brother's girlfriend, a big group of people. We were all going to go rent a cabin, go tubing down the river, go to a concert that Saturday night, just spend a whole weekend away and doing fun things. So on August 1st, we get to the cabin. We're settling in, everything's good. I get a phone call from my best friend, who I haven't spoke to in a month because we've both been moving and traveling and just haven't had time to talk to each other. So she calls me, so I answer. We're on the phone for probably 30 minutes or so until he pokes his head into the cabin and he tells me, hey, I'm about to hop in the shower. Well, my friend on the phone thought that he said, hurry up and get off the phone. Well, he heard that and was like, I didn't say that, but if I did, you're going to get the fuck off the phone. And at this point, I flip. I'm like, oh, we are not going down this road. You're not about to control me, all of this stuff. So to kind of lay the scene out for you guys, there's 3 parts to this cabin. There's a cabin here, and then a big main cabin in the middle. Our shower, we're in this one over here. We have this one all to ourselves. Our shower is outside. It's like an outhouse. So at this point, he goes out to the bathroom to shower. So I follow him in there and he's in the shower still arguing and I'm still yelling at him for trying to control me. So he tells me to get the F out of there. I'm not allowed to shower. So I go back into our room in the cabin, and I'm sitting on the bed. When he comes in, he starts basically yelling, and he's like, "You're not welcome here. I paid for this place. Get out." Well, I remain sitting on the couch, or on the bed, I'm sorry. So he comes up to me, picks me up, and starts charging at the door with me. So at this point, he has me pinned against the door. I literally have my hand on his throat, like pushing him away from me. Now there's like an argument that he has just put his hands on me. So I try to grab my phone and call someone who is inside to try to help me. As soon as I pick up my phone, he yanks it out of my hands. I have scratches on my hands from him taking the phone from me. He shuts it off. So I run over to the window to try to bang on it and get anyone to hear me that's outside. But they all have music playing. They can't hear. No one hears me. At this point, he comes over and yanks me away from the window. And he's so close to me that I literally just like raise my knee up to barely graze his balls because like, just a warning, like back up or, you know, I'll do this. Well, that pisses him off and he yanks me, throws me on the ground. I had like my whole left side of the face hit the ground. And at this point, like, I guess he realized, oh my God, like I messed up. So he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like I can't.
Sorry, this is even stranger to me because I'm imagining like in her mind as well. Like she's probably looking at the guy and subconsciously thinking like, this is actually a strange. I wonder if at that time she's like looking and thinking that actually, like this is actually a stranger. Like I'm literally in a cabin, you know, in the middle of nowhere with a stranger. I really don't know this guy. Like I met him on TikTok. We had some chats and then now I'm here. It's only been like a month. Like she said that they were talking for a month and then she moved out. I don't know.
Live with myself that I just put my hands on you. This is not right, blah, blah. So we talk through all of it and come to the conclusion we just go to sleep and we're going to try to have a good rest of the weekend. So Friday, August 2nd, we had plans to go to the river and that night go to dinner. So we go out for...
I'm sorry. So let me get this straight, okay? Before you go and live with him, your mother sends you a photo of his, what was that? That was his mugshot for him getting arrested for harassment. Let's see if we can find it here. I can't even find it here. So your mom sends you a photo of that, right? You see that. You proceed to go with that guy still, to go live with him. Now you're at a cabin with him. At this cabin, he's like picked you up, like thrown you against the wall. You've had to like choke him, try to knee him in the balls just to get him away from you. You guys have had a whole spat already. And then you still are open to going to the lake with him, the river, the water, in the middle of the cabin woods where nobody can hear you scream and nobody can see you, right? In a place where your body would be very easily disposable. Let's go on.
Hours, tubing on the river. He's been drinking. I've been drinking. We're both...
Oh, yeah, no, because that's not enough. That wasn't enough. We got to add by the river in the middle of nowhere. But let's also add to the guy who has a harassment problem and an anger problem and a putting his hands on me problem. Let's add drinking. That, okay. Okay. Let me not get upset. Okay.
And we get home, I start showering to get ready for dinner. Well, next thing I know,
you should be thanking God you even got home. Like that was a bad idea. I don't know how you, okay.
Comes in the shower holding my phone. Now, I had deleted Snapchat and everything before moving out there. He had got onto my phone and re-downloaded Snapchat. So he walks in the shower and he's showing me a text message that I had sent to somebody on Snapchat probably a year ago. And he's like, "What the fuck is this? You're a whore."
How is that possible if you re-download Snapchat? Because I delete apps off my phone all the time if I need to focus. When you re-download Snapchat, you have to log in again. How does he have your login? Okay, so something about that story doesn't make sense. Either she's leaving a piece of information out, or she's not telling it properly, because that doesn't even make sense. When you re-download the app, you have to re-log in. So how did he get your login? How did he just randomly be able to access your messages?
And he grabs my throat and throws me into the shower. At this point, I don't want to be locked into the cabin again. I don't know what he's capable of. I don't know what he's about to do, but he seems pissed off. Well, he hops in his truck and leaves. So at this point, I hop out of the shower, I throw my bikini back on, and I run into the main cabin to tell everyone to try to find someone to help me. So I start showing them the bruises I had on my arms. I had a big bruise on my neck from him throwing me on the ground the night before, and showed them the scratches. And so I'm telling everybody what happened. I'm asking them for help. And meanwhile, he's gone in his truck somewhere. So when I go back into the cabin to show everyone what he's done, these girls look at me and they tell me that I'm not the first girl this has happened to. They start telling me all these stories and everything. At this point, he comes back up the driveway. So his brother and all of the guys there go outside and try to calm him
I'm kind of pissed. I'd be like, nobody was going to tell me or help me beforehand.
down and figure out what's going on. So at this point, he's mad that they're all talking to him, and he leaves again. So then I start looking for my phone because he had it last. Obviously, he showed me in the shower my messages. So he had it last. I'm looking for my phone because he wants me to leave. And so we're all saying, okay, well, she will leave if she can find her phone so she could get an Uber. So I'm looking for my phone. I can't find it anywhere. I start reaching out to my mom, to two of the girls I know that have my location on my phone. I DM'd them off of a girl that was in the cabin with me. I DM'd them off of her Instagram. So I finally get my mom on the phone and asked her to track my location. And at this point, it's coming up as no location found because the location has been turned off. So at this point, his brother calls him and he's like, hey, where is her phone? She needs it so she could get up and she could leave and go do whatever she needs to do. And he claims he left it on our nightstand in our cabin. So all of us go out to the cabin. We're tearing the cabin apart trying to find my phone. We can't find it anywhere. At this point, the location is turned off. We know he has my phone. So then he comes back up into the driveway, goes in there and packs all my stuff, brings it into the main cabin and is telling me to leave. So we continue to tell him I can't go anywhere if I don't have my phone. Well, he doesn't want to ruin everyone's weekend. So he tells everyone, hey guys, y'all just go to dinner. I'll stay here with Brittany and help her look for her phone because we don't want to ruin your guys' weekend. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here telling everybody I do not want to be alone with this man after what he did to me the night before.
Like, I get it. I understand that thought process, but I'm not saying that you should have been thinking of the worst case scenario beforehand, but like, where was this sense of, hey, let me actually see what this person is about and not just be alone with the stranger? What was that sense of self-awareness beforehand? I just don't know. I don't know.
So they come to the conclusion, okay, well, we'll just go to dinner. We'll take him with us. And Brittany, you stay here at the cabin by yourself. So now I don't get dinner. And now I have to be at a cabin in the middle of nowhere by myself with no phone. So they go to dinner. He drives.
What? My head hurts. The glass jet. My head hurts. Why would that be the strategy? So, okay, like, quick tidbit here. If you're ever in this position, everyone has to be miserable until I get my phone back. That way, those people can also, because it seems like these people know him better than obviously she knows him. So you got to kind of put pressure on everyone to say, hey, you guys that know him well, put pressure on him to give me back my phone. You can't, what? Everyone gets to go out and have a good night and you're in the cabin looking through the entire thing to look for your phone when it's probably not even there. That is insane. That is insane. And I get it, you're probably just like, feeling like you don't want to ruffle any feathers and things like that. But like, this is part of the problem, right? The personality to not want to speak up for yourself or to not take care of you is the problem. Like, you have to be like, no, we're all staying here until I find my phone. If everyone's miserable, then everyone better put pressure on your bestie over there to figure out where my phone is. That's not, you know what I mean? It's got to be that simple.
Separately to dinner. And so I'm just sitting out on the porch by myself staring at the sky because there's no TV, there's nothing to do there. Until next thing I know, I hear a truck coming up the driveway. So he comes up. He had apparently drove to the restaurant, got there, turned around and came back. So now it's me and him alone at this cabin. So he comes up the stairs, still cussing me out, still telling me that I'm a whore and all of this stuff. He then tells me that we're going to leave the cabin and drive 4 hours back to Lumberton, Texas. And I reply by saying, we have been drinking all day. I don't want to go anywhere with you after you've been so drunk. I don't feel comfortable driving in the car with you, trying to plead my case. And he's like basically just saying, you will come with me and all this stuff. So he forces me to pack my bags up really fast and get into the truck with him. It's 11 o'clock.
This type of stuff, man. I just come on, man. Come on, man. I tell you what. This type of stuff. So he's drunk now. He's angry now. He's already put his hands on you before. You don't have your phone. Nobody can track your location. You're in the middle of nowhere where you know no one. It's also nighttime. You're in his truck, and he's going to angrily drive you guys back to his own place. Let's go on.
O'clock at night, and we are having to drive 4 hours back to Lumberton. So we start going down the road, and he's speeding everything. He's still cussing me out, and I look at him and I say, I would never say the things that you're saying to me to the.
I'm okay. So sorry. Part of the reason I'm glitching is, did she get her phone back, or am I tripping? Is she still phoneless at this time? Chat, please tell me, because I feel like maybe I lost when she said I got my phone back. Did she say that she got her phone back, or is she actually in the car, in the truck with him, phoneless?
Person that I love. And I was like, I could say a lot of things about you, but I don't. And at this point, that makes him mad. And he grabs the gun that's beside him in the truck, and he holds it to my leg, and he says, oh yeah, what would you say then? What would you effing say, Brittany? So I don't know what was going through my mind, but I just remained silent. And it kind of just shocked me. It blew my mind that this man now has a gun to my leg. He's been drinking all day. Now we're driving.
Sorry, I'm sorry. There's so many.
Makes him mad.
Sorry. Chat. There's so many things happening at once. I can't even get over the last thing she said and listen to the next thing that she's saying. Sorry, I thought she was saying I was a hand. Sorry, it's all right. Okay. Let me read. Okay.
A lot of things about you, but I don't. And at this point, that makes him mad. And he grabs the gun that's beside him in the truck, and he holds it to my leg, and he says, oh yeah, what would you say then? What would you effing say, Brittany? So
this wasn't supposed to go like this. We might have to stop doing these, because these type of stories, they just stress me out too much. I can't even, you have no phone, right? Phoneless. You're in the truck with this guy who's been drinking all day. And he's in the middle, still you're in the middle of nowhere. His friends aren't around. Your friends are nowhere to be found. Nobody knows where you are. Nobody can triangulate your location or find you if you need help. You can't call for help. You can't scream, right? He's already put his hands on you before, so he's shown himself to be violent. He's already really heated. He's already really upset. Now he has a GUN, and he's holding it to your leg while he's driving.
I don't know what was going through my mind, but I just remained silent. And it kind of just shocked me. It blew my mind that this man now has a gun to my leg. He's been drinking all day. Now we're driving, and it just wasn't a good situation. So I remained quiet. Well, then he comes to reality, and he realizes, oh, I just held a gun against your leg. So now he feels bad that he did this to me. So he pulls over in Buc-ee's and asks me if I needed water, if I need to go to the bathroom.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I feel like I'm watching a horror movie where the character is doing the worst possible. I hope. Okay, so maybe she hasn't finished yet with what happened when she got in the Buc-ee's. Chat, let's pray. For the sake of her, let's pray when they stopped at the Buc-ee's, she got out of the truck and said, hey, I just want to let you know the guy that I'm with is crazy and deranged. He's taken me hostage. I need you to call the police. Do not let him take me back into the truck. I hope she was self-aware and real enough and smart enough to do something like that at the Buc-ee's where there's other people there that can witness and then save her own life. I hope that's what she did, and I hope that's what she's about to explain. I hope she's not going to say, I got back in the truck with him after that. I hope. Let's hope, chat.
So I go in and get a water, come back out, and he has the door locked with the gun sitting between his legs. So I'm knocking on the window. I finally get into the truck and
So this is the perfect time to say to yourself, clearly God doesn't want me to get back into the truck. The door is locked by him, and there's a gun in between his legs. So maybe at this point I should look at the stars and the signs that getting in this truck again is probably not a good decision. So what I'm expecting to happen right when I play this again is I then went to someone in the Buc-ee's and said, the guy I'm with is not stable. I need to stay here. Please call the police or allow me to figure out a way to get home myself. I hope that's what she's about to say right now.
I realized, he still has the gun. And he's like, I can't live with myself. I just held this gun to you. Like, I've already put my hands on you. I'm a terrible person. And he was like, I just want to end it all. So now he's saying he's going to kill himself in the driver's seat. So I have to talk him down and I tell him, how about you let me drive the rest of the way home and you calm down. So that's what happened.
I can't do this, chat. I can't do this. 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 Why? Let me take a lap, chat. Let me just take a lap, bro. Let me take a lap, man. Why would... How... This story is so painful, This story is so... I can't imagine what... Oh, my God. I can't imagine what it's like for her parents or her dad to be listening to this. This story is very painful. Very, very painful to listen to. Why would you... I can't believe she actually... I can't believe this. I actually can't believe this. She's not only in the truck now she's driving the truck, so she can't even be aware of what he's doing with his hands or what he's doing with the gun, right, in his hand. He's unstable, and now, oh my God. I can't believe this. I actually can't believe this. If this happened in a horror movie, I would be like, this is the stupidest horror movie ever, because nobody would be that careless with their own life to actually get back in the truck with someone who's unstable, let alone drive the truck. I can't believe this.
We get back to our house at 5 a.m. and we go to sleep. Now, I wake up the next morning and I still...
You should be why is the next words not out of your mouth? I was praying to Allah. I was praying to God. I was praying to Buddha. Whoever you believe, pray to the universe, pray to the stars, okay? Whatever you believe in, you should have been praying, thanking whoever that you even made it home. The fact you made it home is a miracle.
I don't have my phone at this point. So I find my MacBook computer. And I log on to it because I'm like, okay, maybe I've really lost my phone. I was drunk. Maybe I left it somewhere. I don't know.
You're still worried about the phone. You should be worried about your life. See, now the priorities are off.
So I keep my debit card in the back of my phone. So I was like, if I did leave it somewhere, maybe I should turn that off, lock all that stuff. So I log on to my First Citizens and I lock my bank account. But when I pull that up, I see that it says a Venmo. I Venmo'd him $500, which I know I didn't do. So now I'm starting to get suspicious. I'm like, okay, well, he just did that. He just gave himself my money. So then I go to find my iPhone on my MacBook, and it shows my phone is in his truck right outside. So at this point, I'm still looking to see what else he might have done on my phone. I pull up my messages, and I see that.
I won't even make a comment. Let's just go on.
He had been texting his ex-fiance, acting as me. He was sitting there basically, like, from what I gathered from it, it sounded like he was asking her for a threesome. And
what? 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 I don't know what to say. He took your phone with your debit card attached, Venmoed himself 500, and then texted his ex-fiance trying to get her to have a threesome with you. I don't think I've heard a story this out there before. I don't even know, like, that guy himself he's so insane that it's actually kind of creative, because I don't even know crazy people that would be able to, like, throw these different elements of insanity into one situation. Like, you have to understand there's a level of creativity that you have to say, no. The MO isn't just steal the phone. That's not enough crazy. The MO isn't just make it a whole treasure hunt. That's not enough crazy. The MO isn't just get myself $500, right? Venmo myself $500. That's not even enough crazy. The MO isn't, have the GUN in my lap, threaten her with it, wave it around like I'm about to blow everything up. That's not even enough crazy. The enough crazy isn't even, hey, hold it to my head, I'm about to end everything. That's not enough crazy. No. I got to add in my ex-fiance, but not to cheat. That's not enough crazy. To get the girl who I've been harassing and I've been abusing this whole time, to get her to have a threesome with me with the GUN in my hand, while I hold it at both of them and force them both to suck me off. That's like the crazy I'm looking for. That is so insane. It's actually creative. Let's go on.
It was just a weird situation. So at this point, he comes walking into the living room, and I look at him and I was like, why did you Venmo yourself $500? And he was like, I was just trying to be a dick. And so he sent that money back to me. But then I was like, why did you message your ex-fiance acting as me? And he said that he was trying to embarrass me. So then I tell him, okay, well,
he wants to embarrass his current girlfriend by texting his ex-girlfriend as her to make it seem like she wants a threesome. So you want your ex-fiance to look down on your current girlfriend and think she's an idiot. How does that benefit you as a man?
well, it shows my phone is in your truck, so can we go out there and look for it? So we both go outside. This is like morning lunchtime. We go outside and we start tearing his truck apart, trying to find my phone. Couldn't find it anywhere, imagine that. So we go back inside, watch a little bit of TV. We finally have like a conversation about what all just happened. And now this man is a manipulator, master with words. So he's like, I'm so sorry. We were talking about the Bible. We were talking about like how we both wanted to change and all this stuff. So we are fine.
How do you even start the conversation of saying, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry of holding a gun to you"? I've never had to apologize for that. So I'm actually curious, how does that apology, like, how do you start that? Yo, so the gun situation, that was crazy, my bad. How do you even, like, how does that apology go? Because I don't know how you apologize for holding a gun to someone and threatening to, like, end it.
Back on good terms. And it's like now 5:30 in the evening. And he looks at me and was like, so do you want your phone back? So I was like, yeah, I would really like my phone back. Meanwhile, during this time, I didn't have my phone. My friends were all calling me, texting me, trying to figure out what was going on because I had just asked them to try to track my location and it had been turned off. So they're all worried about me. My mom's still worried about me. And he was like getting mad. He was like, how many people do you have involved with this? He was like, you already ran into the cabin and told everybody what was going on. You're getting all these people involved and it has to stop. So I told him, I was like, well, let me go outside and get my phone out of your truck and I can call everybody back and let them know that I'm okay. So at this point, I go, he tells me where his little secret hiding place is in the truck.
I'm going to tell you something, chat, right now. The next words out of her mouth after she says, I got my phone back, it better be, I then called an Uber to get myself home. That better be what she says next, because she has at least 500. So she can at least get back to civilization and then figure things out from there. So if her words out of her mouth are, I got my phone back, and then I proceeded to continue having a conversation with him or talking to him or stayed with him, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it.
So he has a Carhartt seat cover. And underneath that seat cover in the back of his seat, he had turned my phone off and slid it behind there. So I go turn my phone back on and I start calling my friends who had been worried about me. So my first friend I call, she tells me, she was like, Brittany, somebody was on your Snapchat last night and I know it wasn't you. And she was like, they were asking me for nudes, but they were acting as you. So then she sends me the screenshots and I see where he had texted and said, hey, his name, has been watching porn and I would rather him watch somebody I know than someone I don't know. Would you send me your nudes? And so clearly this isn't me.
I'm telling you, the guy's so crazy, he's actually creative. He just does things that I don't even think regular crazy people would think to do.
So she texted my phone at this point, which was the night before, texted my phone and said, hey, are you Snapchatting me? And he replied, yes. So he's still impersonating me. So at this point, like, he's right inside the door and I tell her on the phone, I was like, listen, I'll go in and talk to him and try to figure this out, whatever.
It's one of the realizations that is painful for me, but then I have to accept is that some people they don't want to be saved. They don't want to be saved. They don't want to be saved. I think that I care too much. I can't care too much. I have to stop. I have to stop myself from caring too much, because stuff like this is gonna get my blood pressure too high because I care too much. Because I just don't understand. Okay, so now you have your phone back, right? At least the phone has some battery, has some charge. Why not call yourself an Uber, get yourself home? Forget it if you have a couple of clothes at the cabin and this and that. Like, who cares? Just get out of the situation and be safe, not with the unstable man who is just holding a gun to you. To text some of the other girls that are at the cabin, tell them pack your clothes for you and ship them to you or something. Like, why put yourself back in danger there? Like, the only thing that you needed back was your phone. Now that you have a way to communicate with your people, why even bother having a conversation with them? But then I realize I can't care more than someone else cares. I can't.
So I go inside and I show him the screenshots and I was like, what is this? And I was like, so you also asked my friend for nudes off my phone? And he
what is your desired outcome? Okay, I'm not trying to get upset with her, right? Because I know she's just telling her story and she made some mistakes, obviously. But I'm almost wondering, like, at that point in the situation, while we do all make mistakes, what was your desired outcome? Ask the guy who held a gun to me a couple of hours before, the night previously, hey, did you ask my friend for nudes? What is your desired outcome there? That he'll admit it to you and say, yeah, I'm sorry. Can we just go back to how things were before? Like, what is your desired outcome there? Are you guys going to be together if he admits it to you? What's the difference? Like, do you even expect him to admit it to you? You think he's not going to lie about it?
was like, oh no, I had your Snapchat and I did change the password, but I changed it to an easy password. So it was probably a hacker got in there and hacked your phone. So I told him, so this hacker hacked into my Snapchat and my phone number because I was like, my friend just texted both my Snapchat and my phone number in which you replied to. So he gets pissed off because now he's caught. So he was like, get the F off my property. You're not welcome here any longer. So I grabbed my laptop and my phone and I start walking up the road. And I didn't know who to call because.
What year is this? What year is this story happening? I am confused. I do believe we started this story with I met him on TikTok. TikTok hasn't been around that long. Uber's older than TikTok. So I'm sorry, I'm not computing here. Can chat explain this to me? Why did she not call an Uber? If TikTok's around, Uber's around. I'm really confused. Why is she on the road walking? Could she not call a taxi? Why can we not call anyone?
At this point, his parents are in Singapore. Everybody we were with at the cabin is still at the cabin, 4 hours away. His sister's in Singapore with them, so the only person I had to call was his brother and sister-in-law. So.
What? What? I can't. Oh, I can't believe. Oh. Sorry, I was muted. I can't believe. I can't believe. I can't believe. She thought the only person she can. I can't believe this. The only person you thought you can call is his mother and his brother-in-law, or whatever she said. His family, basically. Not the police, not the FBI, not the CIA, not an Uber, not a taxi. I'm really shocked.
I start walking up the road and I call them. And I ask them to come pick me up because I don't know what he's about to do and I'm scared. I call them. His brother and sister-in-law. So I start walking up the road and I call them. And I ask them to come pick me up because I don't know what he's about to do and I'm scared. And they just had a newborn baby. So clearly they're like, Brittany, we don't want to come get you and bring you to our house and like risk him showing up here with guns or anything like that. Like, we're not about to put our family in that situation. So they were like, just stay on the phone.
The brother and sister-in-law said, you think we're getting a part of your crazy? You're getting deep fried by yourself. You're cooked. So we ain't getting part of your situation. We got a life to live. They said that to you. You should be saying, oh my God, this guy might actually be a serial unaliver. If the brother and sister-in-law are saying, yeah, you're on your own, girly. We ain't got time to be helping you. We got a baby to live for. You're so cooked. I can't. I tell you, chat.
We'll call the cops for you. At this point, I'm still walking up the road and he hops in his truck and comes up beside me.
Why does it not dawn upon her when they say we'll call the cops for you? Why doesn't she think to herself, I should have called the cops?
Still on the phone with them. So he's yelling at me to get in the truck. And I replied, no, I'm not getting in the truck with you. And he pulls his gun out again and was like, get in the truck. And I said, no, you have a gun. I'm not getting in the truck. So that the people.
Now you want to stand up to him. Now that you're alone and he can catch you and he can force you to do something. Not stand up to him where you're at the Buc-ee's and other people are around to witness and he can't be as bold. Not stand up to him as soon as you were able to go out and get your truck. As soon as you were able to go out and get your truck, you should have called 911 to come get you. Or you called 911 and then start calling an Uber to have a plan for the backup plan. But now you want to stand up for yourself while you're on the phone with the brother and sister-in-law, hoping that that's what's going to prevent him from doing something crazy when he's holding the gun to you.
On the phone know that he has a gun. He realizes I'm not going to get into the truck, so he hops out of his truck, comes over to me, rips my phone out of my hand, and picks me up and throws me inside of our house. So the police chief calls him and says, "Hey, I just got this phone call. Is everything okay?" And he replies, "Oh yeah, everything's fine. She's packing up her stuff now. She'll be leaving. Everything's good." Hangs up the phone. Nobody ever comes. No police ever comes to check on us. Nothing. So at this point, he's had about enough of it.
So I'm not going to blame her for the police having negligence, but here's where I do blame her. We don't know what the brother and sister-in-law said on the phone and how they communicated the situation. If she would have called and said, "My life is in danger. There is a man who's threatening me with a gun. Please come to this address or I'm in this area," or whatever the case may be, because she has her phone now and she could see it on her location. The police would have dispatched because somebody's life is in danger. Now, this is where things went wrong. When you're allowing someone else to call the police for you who's not in the situation, they're going to make the situation sound like it's not as serious and as life-threatening as it actually is, which is why the police chief proceeded to call him, because clearly they're close and they know who that person is. And now the situation, they're not showing up because they don't think it's an imminent, dangerous situation. But as much as I don't want to blame her, whose fault is it that they don't think it's a dangerous situation? It's her fault, because she could have called herself when she had her own phone back or at the Buc-ee's and said how dangerous of a situation it is. Please come. This type of stuff really gets me upset.
And he looks at me and was like, "Let's get this over with." Picks me up and takes me into the bedroom. And all of these thoughts are going through my mind. I don't know what's about to happen. But he throws me on the bed and he grabs a pillow and he smothers me 3 separate times. And by the 3rd time, I was kind of just over it. And I kicked him off of me, which he then went flying up and hit the...
What do you mean I was just kind of over it? Are you confused about what's happening here? You're saying the guy took a pillow and smothered you 3 times, and you're saying by the 3rd time I was over it. You do realize he's edging himself, like he's edging unaliving you. And I don't know. Do you think it's a game? Do you think it's like him? He's just trying to be cutesy and quirky and annoying. Raw XD. Is that what you think is happening? Because he's edging unaliving you. He's just trying to contemplate am I really going to do it?
A bed frame on the bed with his shin. And he got so mad that he got hurt that he charged after me, grabbed my throat, and started strangling me. And everything started going black. I literally thought, this is it. This is where I die. And I don't know what happened, but right when I was about to kick the bucket, he stopped and he got off of me and literally flipped personalities. He was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Just breathe, breathe." He was like, "You know, I would never do anything to hurt you," all of this stuff. And it was just manipulation. I realized that because we packed up in a...
How does someone manipulate you out of them trying to unalive you? You just said I was seeing black. I was in heaven. I was being delivered. And now I got a second chance at life. And the guy was able to explain it away. You know, someone said something in the chat that, honestly, you might not be wrong, because someone said this might just be her kink. Like but at this point she might be getting off on this, which I think, is possible, because it's almost like the only explanation for why she's continuing to allow this. Like maybe she's having fun here with getting so close to the edge that she's like, oh, this is really intense. And it's honestly, it's turning her on or something like that. Because I just don't even understand how any sort of person with any sort of sense would continue to allow this to go on this long.
Hurry to leave the cabin. I had left my purse with my keys in it. So that's still 4 hours away. I start realizing I don't have a way to get away. And his brother and everyone won't be back until tomorrow, the next day. And they were bringing all of our stuff we had left there back. So in my head, I'm thinking, I don't have a way out right now. And he's sitting here saying he's sorry and trying to manipulate me. So I start.
Why does she think she can't call the police? Even if they call the police the first time and let's say, they called your guy and then they didn't come. Why does she think she can't just call the police again? There's no limit on how many times you can call the police if you're in danger.
Playing into his little manipulation. And I was like, okay, if you'll never do it again, I'll stay, all of this stuff. So it comes nighttime. We sleep on the couch outside because I can't sleep in the bedroom where he just tried to kill me. So we slept on the couch. The next day rolls around and we're just trying to live it normally. I'm still trying.
Why not call the police, an Uber, a taxi, someone to come and pick you up, deliver you? Call a parent to call you an Uber or a taxi. Call a brother or a sister, call you an Uber, call you a taxi while he's asleep. That would be the perfect time to leave. Why not call some of the friends that you just left the cabin? There's so many people you could reach out to help you, get you out of the situation, especially when you know that he's actually asleep. Perfect time to slip away, and you choose to stay for the next morning.
To play into all of this and make him think I'm okay. So I told him I was going to stay. Well, his brother and the family didn't get back until that night with my keys. And at this point, I have to drive 13 hours back.
So someone even said something really smart as well. So many ways to get out of this. While he's asleep, take the keys to his truck and start driving yourself home
to South Carolina. So I don't want to leave in the middle of the night and be driving sleepy at that time. So I have to wait one more night.
You really think you'll be sleepy reliving the fact that the man that you're dating tried to unalive you multiple times? You really think that that's not going to have your adrenaline rushing enough to keep you awake? At least keep you awake long enough to drive to a hotel or a motel that you can then sleep at? You have at least $500 in your bank account, because we know that because he Venmo'd himself that and then he gave it back to you. So you have enough money to get gas, to get you to a place where you can be at a motel or a hotel, and then you can sleep there.
And the next morning we wake up and he's thinking everything is good. It's back to normal, all of that stuff. So he's supposed to go to work and I tell him I'm going to go over to the other house, wash the dogs and bring them back, go to the grocery store, cook dinner, normal day. Well, as soon as I get in the car to head over to the other house, I call my friend back and she just gets on the phone and she was like, Brittany, tell me right now that you're okay. And when she said that, I broke down and I was like, I have so much I need to tell you. I'm not okay. And I told her the story and she was like, get out of there right now. She was like, this is your first time you're away from him. Run, book it home. And I'm crying and she's crying. So she calls my mom, three-ways us, and my mom's freaking out. I'm scared to death.
Why is nobody calling an Uber? Why is nobody calling a taxi? Why is nobody calling the police? All of these things are constantly on my mind and I cannot get answers to them.
I just start gunning it down the road all the way back to South Carolina, and I'll leave everything behind. Everything I owned is still at his house to this day. I came home with nothing but the clothes I was wearing and my purse. So meanwhile, I don't know how much time I have to get down the road before he realizes that I've left. So I'm going 94 down the highway. I'm about probably 45 minutes to an hour out of Lumberton. I'm now in Louisiana. A cop pulls me over. So I tell the cop what's going on, and I know that he's probably going to be behind me in any second. So I'm telling this cop I'm running for my life, and I try to tell him the whole situation. And he just looks at me, writes me my ticket, gives it back to me, and was like, drive safe. So no help from him, no, hey, I'll bring you to the police station, you stay here, you're safe, nothing. Drive safe. So I keep gunning it. Well, about that time, my phone shuts off and it's reported lost.
My question is, okay, what is her communication style like? Because when a cop pulls you over and you seem like you feel like your life is in danger, they're obligated to help you. So I'm not, I don't even want to victim blame, but I am wondering, like, what is the level of intensity you explain to the police officer so he can understand what's actually happening here?
And the only number popping up to call is his number. So when this happens, I lose the phone call with my mom and my friend. I lose my directions. I can only call him. So I call him and he's sitting here.
This is a joke. This is a joke. I have to turn this off now. I have to turn this off now. I have to turn this off now, chat. I have to go after this. This is a joke. This is a joke. This is a joke. It's 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 a joke. This is a joke. It's a joke. This is not a real story. 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 She's trying to say after all that she thought the only person she can call was him, and then she called him. This is not a real story. This is not a real story. This is no way. There's just no way. There's no way. There's no way. This is not a real story.
Telling me that I'm a coward for leaving when things got tough, all this stuff, and how much of a piece of shit I am. So he's already saying, if you don't think I'm right behind you, you're ridiculous. So he was like, I'll meet you in South Carolina. He said, you better have everybody ready, and whatever happens when I get there is on you. So my mom and my friend are trying to still call me. So I tell him, I'm like, hold on, let me answer this phone call. I'll call you back. I get on the phone with him, and they're like, Brittany, call the next police station, tell them he is behind you, and see if you can stay there, and we will come pick you up. So I'm in Alabama at this point, and I call the next police station 13 minutes up the road, and I tell them the situation. I tell them I'm running from him, who he is chasing me right now. Well, the lady on the phone says, honey, we close at 5. You can't stay here, and your parents are going to have to drive a long way, so you can't stay here. So another cop that wouldn't help. So I then decide, all right, well, I guess I'm just going to gun it all the way home. And
I don't think she understands how the law works. Cuz this is my concern. So when we do multiple different police officers that are basically saying, hey, we can't really do anything for you. Like, okay, so sure, one police officer out of 100 might be a little bit incompetent, might not take a situation seriously. But eventually you're going to run into a police officer that takes his job seriously enough that if you say, I feel like my life is in danger, that he's going to look to try and help you, right? Because people don't just randomly say, I feel like my life is in danger. Not to mention she's a woman, right? So it's obviously going to add some extra oomph to it if she says, I feel like my life's in danger by this man. So this is my other question, and I have to ask questions because I'm a curious person. Why are multiple people blowing her off as if she's not actually explaining her situation properly? Because here's the other thing as well. If you just go to the police station, like literally just drive there and say, please help me. There's a man following me and my life is in danger. He's been trying to unalive me since we're at the cabin, and I need you to help separate him from me so that he can't get access to me. I am almost 100% positive. Anywhere you go in the United States, where you go into a police station and you say that, someone will help you. Okay? Even if you go into a grocery store and you say that, someone will try and help you. If you can communicate it with the right level of intensity, that my life is literally in danger, this person has tried to unalive me multiple times and has a gun, okay? So this is why I'm upset and I'm confused, because for a police officer to react like that to you, knowing what your story is, knowing how serious this is, I'm questioning how well did you even communicate what was actually transpiring? Because that's not a natural response for a police officer to be on the phone and say, oh, yeah, my bad. Your life's in danger. We close at 5. Yeah, we don't do that here. Yeah, we don't work overtime.
Whatever. So I call him back. And at this point, I'm trying to just talk him down because I have to get gas. I have to like stop. And I don't want him to catch up to me because Lord knows what would happen. So I get on the phone and I'm like, listen, I just need to go home for a couple of days, clear my head, and then I'll be back. And trying to manipulate him a little bit since we're playing these games. So he was like, oh, well, if I would have known you were coming back, I wouldn't be following you. So at this point, I finally get him to turn around. He goes home, but I finally get back to South Carolina that night. My stepdad had met me in Atlanta and kind of escorted me the rest of the way home. So I get home and sleep and think everything's fine. The next day, I start getting Google alerts on my phone, and it's saying that someone has logged into my Gmail and all of this stuff. So I'm starting to realize this man has hacked into my stuff. Because when he stole my phone for that entire day, he not only did everything he did on my phone, but he screenshotted all of my username and passwords and sent them to himself. So now he's got access to everything of mine. So I go in and I try to change my email passwords and all that stuff. And somehow he just hacked into it and changed it back. He set up a recovery email for his email address. So at this point, I had no way of getting into my emails. He was changing my Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook. He changed all of those passwords. And if I wanted to try to change them, it would send an email to that email, the old email I had that he had access to. So I couldn't change anything. So then I was able to have someone come over here who's like kind of tech savvy. And we created all of these burner fake emails and stuff and was able to go into my Instagram and Facebook and hack that stuff back and switch it to a new email and change the passwords and all of that stuff. Meanwhile, like it pops up where you've been logged in at, and it would keep saying logged in Lumberton, Texas, like an hour ago. So like I know he was logging into all of my things out there, and Lord knows what he was doing on there. I was able to get my Facebook and my personal Instagram back. Snapchat and my real estate Instagram, he still has. I've reached out to Snapchat and told him the situation, and Snapchat basically was just like, we're no further communicating with you. So I got blown off, and now he's on my Snapchat. I have my friends watching it. We see the numbers going up. We know that he's texting whoever he wants to text on there, acting as me. Not only my social medias and stuff like that he was able to get into, but I left everything out there. So I left my social security card, my birth certificate. My new driver's license was delivered to his house. So now all I have is a paper temporary driver's license that no one accepts. Not only did this man lay hands on me, try to murder me, and hacked into all of my accounts and stuff like that, but I receive a message from his ex-fiance, who I had reached out to try to get some information from and just ask her like, hey, is this who he was with you, or was this just me? And the messages I received from her is scary. So I first of all apologized to her for him acting as me and, Snapchatting her, texting her, whatever, acting as me. And she replied with, he was not only messaging her as me, he was sending her my pictures of me to her. He was calling her throughout the entire relationship, which was only 4 months, but was calling her, asking her to come over and like have sex with him and everything. And she proceeds to tell me like 3 different incidents from his ex-girlfriends that he has done to them. And this entitles like stealing their phone while they're asleep, creating Hinge, Tinder, Bumble accounts as them, using their nudes to message other girls and say, hey, I'll trade you my nudes for your nudes. and he was doing that with them. He had broken into an ex's house before, put a gun to his head before. So like, it's nothing new. But a lot of these girls have tried
So he's also a corn addict on top of all that.
to go through with charges against him, which fell through because his family is so known. He would lawyer up and get these charges dropped. So it's kind of just, this is who he is, and his family isn't helping him get the mental help he needs. And it's just scary because people like this are out there and they're predators. I mean, he literally preyed on me to get me out there alone, isolated from my family. I'm 13 hours away. I had no one to help me. Not even the cops clearly didn't help me while I was out there. So I think my main purpose of coming on here is to be a voice for the girls he's already done this to speak up for myself and stand my ground, and just try to like spread that awareness, because we do live in a day and age where we meet a lot of people on social media, online. And
not to cut her off, I appreciate your story, Brittany. This is very bad what you did. Very bad. Very bad. I hope you should be chaining yourself to your bed. You better stay inside for many years. If I was your dad, you're not leaving the city. No, you're not leaving the city. You're timeout on dating for probably like 10 years. Timeout for you on dating. If I'm your dad, if I was your dad, I'm saying if you even think about having a conversation with the guy, I have to meet him first in person. And we're going to do a background check on him, because your decision making when it comes to choosing guys is piss poor. I'll just be honest with you. And your judgment in the moment where you start to see danger or feel danger, your survival instinct and skill is less than zero. It's actually negative. It's actually negative, because in many situations where most people would have done the thing that's the most obvious and the most easy, you actually did the thing that's the most dangerous. So if this was a horror film, I would actually be very upset watching this horror film, because if in watching the horror film, I would have felt like it was so unrealistic, because any person with even reasonable sense would have done the opposite thing. So the fact that your actual real life was more unrealistic than a horror film is very, very bad. Very bad, Brittany. So, I get it. Obviously, we're learning a lesson from this because this is really a horror story, but a lot of this could have been avoided very, very simply. And I hope for yourself as well that you learn the lesson of you can't even be dating. You have to have someone overseeing the people that you date, because the decision making is very bad and the survival instinct is very bad. I don't want you alone with the guy no more. We don't need you messaging no guys from Bumble or her, because this is very upsetting for me. Chat, I hope you learned something. This is very upsetting for me. All right, chat, let's hop into our third one. This took a lot out of me. Let's hop into our third segment of the day, right? You guys who are OG members of the Players Club know what's coming up. Those of you who are new here, you're in for a treat. Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your phone. And don't look nowhere else in your entire home. It's an amazing time. It's a special time. It's a time where you're gonna laugh. Definitely laugh more than this one. This past segment was a crier, okay? And it's a time where you might cry, okay? Loud or quiet, chat? Discord tab. Okay, chat. Let's hop right into our Discord segment of the show. show. For those of you who have no idea what that is, I'm going to explain this to you right now. So Discord is essentially where all the amazing members, Discord time, I should say, is where all the amazing members of our Players Club Discord community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their relationship or their situationship, and I answer it live on the show. Now, there are a few different ways for you to submit your question to me. I'm going to explain all three of them to you right now. First way, you can submit your questions by going to the link in my description, click where it says Discord, and then when you hop in the Discord, drop your question into our free relationship advice forum. It is a first come, first serve forum. So you see all these questions that are highlighted here. These are questions that I haven't gotten to yet, plus more. So I have to get to these first before I can go to your question. So it'll probably take me a couple of weeks and a couple of shows to get to your question. Now, if you're an impatient person because you don't want to wait a couple of weeks to get your question answered, you need it answered pronto, you can also ask your question in our premium relationship advice forum, because this forum is like a skip the line pass at a theme park. I read these questions out before I go into the free section. Now, the only way you're allowed to put your question in here, listen very carefully, you go into the link in my description and you click where it says premium Discord relationship advice. Click that link. You'll be prompted to donate to the show and put the title of your Discord username and the title of your question as well. And then once you do that, I'll receive that in your with your donation, and I'll know that that question is yours and that your question is supposed to be in the premium section, because obviously you're getting to skip the line. Now, the third way to submit your question is for those of you who want to ask me something, but you don't want your information to get read out on the show. This is our private relationship hotline, we can call it. With this link, you go to it, whether you go to it through our Discord or whether you go to it through the link in my description on YouTube. It's the top one. You click the private relationship advice link, and then you'll be able to type out your question to me. You send it and submit it to me, and then I respond with a voice message, and no one else sees it if you want to keep your information private. Okay, let's hop into our Let's hop into our first question of the day here. This first premium question of the day comes from Bella. Okay, so we're going to read out Bella's question. Let me just wipe off my glasses here. So Bella said, that wasn't what I expected. All right. Let's see what this has to do with here. Okay. Hi, Tommy. Do you remember me, the dentistry student? I sent you a question a few weeks ago where I explained, oops, let me just space this out here, where I explained that I met a guy at uni who has a girlfriend and who wanted to be closer with me. Yeah, so if he has a girlfriend, then the answer to the question should be you leave that guy alone. You don't need to be talking to that guy. You said, why the F are you even talking to someone with a girlfriend, as I should be saying, right? That sounds like a natural response for me. You also told me that I should end this kind of friendship because even if he would leave his girlfriend, he would do the same to me too. Precisely. That sounds a lot like me. To remind you, he was the one who wanted to come closer to me, who wanted to be closer to me. He tried to initiate things like riding a bike to uni together every day and going on coffee breaks together, etc. You should know that in Germany or Europe in general, unfortunately, being close with people who are taken is very common and normal. No. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I don't care what country, religion, background, or culture you are. There is nowhere where it's normal to be close with, like I'm talking about like a straight heterosexual person, to be close with them. And you're the opposite sex, and that person has a girlfriend or a wife, and then you're casually hanging out with them, spending time with them. I don't care what culture you're in. I don't care what background you are. I don't care what race you are, ethnicity. That is never okay. So don't try me with that excuse. That's not an excuse. Okay, that's not how things are done. Even those of you who live in Europe, please confirm for me, unless I'm confused. Is that how y'all giving it up in Europe? Your boyfriend can hang out with other girls and do bike rides and stuff like that. But all the things you said made me think, how could I make him clear with my behavior that I don't want this anymore? You don't. You just stop speaking to him. It's not your job to make it clear that you don't want this behavior. You just tell him, or you don't even tell him, you just stop speaking to him. You just ignore him. So I started getting distant and canceled riding bikes on some days. I became closer with other friends. I didn't answer some questions of him about my private life but nothing helped. He didn't realize it. So then you can just say, hey, I'm not talking to you anymore because you have a girlfriend and this is inappropriate. Done. And then anything he says after that, just ignore it. He even started to make sure which time we meet for riding bikes the day before. One day, I couldn't take it anymore. I felt uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable. And then, oh my God. Sorry, chat. Let me just end this. It's a timer. Okay. So you said one day I couldn't take it anymore. I felt uncomfortable, and then it happened. We went into the elevator, and for him, it was clear having lunch together at the cafeteria. I said, I don't know. I think you're saying he asked you. I said, I don't know. Let's not have lunch by just the two of us. I will never forget his face. He was like, what do you mean? You don't want people to see us together? I said, let us talk about it later. Why don't you just say you have a girlfriend? This is inappropriate. Why are you scared to say that? We grabbed some food and sat down. He wanted to know what's happening. I said, well, I've been told that people are starting to talk about us, and I wonder what's going on between us. Why are you saying that? Why are you not just saying you have a girlfriend? Going to lunch with you and doing bike rides is inappropriate. I'm not doing this. Why are you so scared to just stand on your own morals? Why? Because we're seen together, just the two of us, every day and everywhere. And honestly, it's making me feel a bit uncomfortable. He instantly said, oh, okay. So to be honest, I don't care what others think about me, but it seems like it's important for you. So the reason he's saying that is because you did not address the situation properly. You completely ignored the real reason as to why you're feeling uncomfortable. It's not because you're spending time with him. That's not why you're feeling uncomfortable at all. You feel uncomfortable because obviously he has a girlfriend and he's continuously asking you to, spend time with him. That's the real reason. But why are you not saying that? So then you went on to say, regardless of what others think about me, I just don't feel comfortable being this close with someone who has a girlfriend, which is what you should have said from the start. I get that for you, it might feel normal to have close friends and spend a lot of time with them one-on-one, but in my world, it just doesn't exist. And that's why I don't want to keep doing something that goes against my beliefs and what feels right for me. You don't even need to add the That's what it is for you. His face dropped. While talking, he wasn't really eating, just messing around with his fries. His reactions were all the time like crazy, okay, as if my way of thinking is completely foreign for him. That's fine. He doesn't have to get it. He doesn't have to understand it. He doesn't have to agree with it. It's your own morals and beliefs. He asked me, so would the way I live really be something you couldn't accept in a relationship? I said, yes, but as long as it's okay for your girlfriend. He said, yeah, my girlfriend does the same. She also has close male friends. So, wow. So here's the thing though. You also have to think, be logical as well. You just finished saying, that don't work for me. That don't fly with me. I wouldn't be okay with that. And so he's saying, yeah, my girlfriend's okay with that, so it's cool. But then what does that do for you? You still feel uncomfortable. And even if you're like, okay, sure, we'll hang out, what's the purpose? Because hypothetically, let's say you ended up dating him because you're not hanging out with him for fun. Let's be real. You like the guy. That's why you're sending the message in. So if you started dating him, this wouldn't fly with you. So then what happens then? You're now in a relationship with the guy who thinks it's okay to be every day seeing some other girl that's not his girlfriend. So what's the point of anything we're doing here? He also said, but don't you have guy friends at all? I said, yeah, I do. You're also single. But they are more on the surface. I said, yeah, it's because I only open up on that deeper level with someone I'm in a relationship with. He seemed confused. So you're doing a lot of explaining to someone who you don't need to explain yourself to. So what do you want me to do for you to feel better? It's okay. I said, it's not much. Just things like riding a bike, having lunch or coffee alone are things that I want to avoid maybe. Why do you say things like this? Like maybe, I don't know, like stop asking him for confirmation or validation on how you feel. That's what you feel. That's what it is. But we can still be friends, like helping each other out at uni or in dental courses. He said, well, fine. And Tomisin, the tension between us, the atmosphere for the rest of the day was so heavy. I grabbed a coffee and offered him one for the last time to join me outside. He just followed me, sat next to me, said nothing, and I asked if he was okay. And then, I don't know, after hearing this, I think I could have gotten closer to other people from our semester during that time. What the hell does that mean? What the hell does that even mean?
What? Excuse me? Why do you think he said that? It hurt. I behaved myself, and he said, well, it felt to me like you didn't want to get close to anyone else. What the hell does that even mean? Him, exactly. But you seem to see me differently, like I'm strange or over the top. So I just can't do those things with you anymore because I end up feeling stupid. What the hell does any of this mean? Are you asking me to translate this? I don't even know what the hell this means. It sounds like what he's trying to say is, I'll tell you what it feels like to me. It feels like he's disappointed that you set a boundary because he was hoping that you would allow things to escalate to the point where you guys start kissing and have basically a full-blown relationship. And he's upset that he's thinking he wasted his time doing this with you when you're someone who sets boundaries, as opposed to doing all this with you to eventually get to the point where basically you guys are doing inappropriate stuff and it's cheating. So he would have rather spent this time getting close to someone to basically cheat with someone who would not have boundaries rather than doing it with you, someone who is trying to have boundaries. That's essentially what it sounds like he's saying, because I can't translate this to mean anything else, right? Because it seems like now he's disappointed literally right after you set a boundary. What else can it mean? He made me feel bad about my decision. What did I do? I just destroyed a good connection. Good connection for what? A good connection to do what with? He's dating someone else. These type of people, these type of men, you're not going to be able to get them to see your point of view, right? He wants to have an inappropriate relationship. He's upset because you won't allow him to have an inappropriate relationship. That's not your fault, nor do you need to explain yourself. I pushed away the one person I felt really close to that also has a girlfriend, so none of your concern. He's no longer that person for me. Perfectly fine. You saved yourself. Trust me. A lot of pain, a lot of heartache, a lot of wasted time and energy. Trust me. Trust me, you did. And everything has changed. And I'm in med school, and you have to understand it's really important to find someone great to survive this degree. I promise you, I assure you, this is not the last man on earth. You're in a university. Universities have upwards of 20,000 people attending them. I promise you, there will be someone else that you will meet that will be great, that can help you survive this degree. I 100% assure you. He is not the last human being on earth, okay? Not the last person in your med school. I reassured him again that it's not about him as a person. Once again, none of your concern. You don't need to reassure him for having boundaries, okay? It's just about my own well-being and how I feel in all of this, but it was too late. That's perfectly fine. I'm glad that he's changed his demeanor towards you. I'm glad that he's making this easier to move forward from. I'm actually happy about that. This conversation was 3 weeks ago. In those weeks, he didn't talk to me anymore, just hello and bye. Or sometimes he asked me things about dental school. He stopped doing the little things he used to, like when we cleaned up after class, he used to clean my spot too without even asking. Now we sit next to each other like strangers. It's been like that for weeks. Tomisin, did I do something wrong? Absolutely not. I'll tell you exactly what happened. Was it right to have this conversation? Absolutely, it was right. And it was mature to have this conversation, and you did the right thing. I've kind of made my peace with how he treats me now, and I've started connecting with other people. But it feels like I'm shutting him out. You're not shutting him out. You're doing the right thing for yourself, which is what you should have done. Do you think I should talk to him again? Let me answer this very clearly so you can see my face and hear me. Do not ever speak to him again. Okay? Do not attempt to. Don't reach out to him. Don't try to be nice to him. Don't try to chat with him about nothing. Okay? So we're very clear. You did the right thing here. What he's really upset about is the fact that you have boundaries and you're not going to allow him to waste your time. Okay? Because one of two things was going to happen. He was either going to waste your time and you spend all this time with him. Obviously, you're going to develop feelings for him. And then he's going to be like, but I have a girlfriend. We can't be together. And then your time is wasted. Or he's going to basically put you in this whole messy situation where he's basically dating you and dating his girlfriend. And now you never get to feel like the priority because anytime you ask for something, he's going to say, but my girlfriend this and my girlfriend that. Either way, you're going to be in such a weird situation. You don't deserve this. Okay? And even if you did end up with him, you're now going to be with the guy who thinks it's okay to be hanging out with the girl every day one-on-one while he has a girlfriend. You don't want to be in a relationship with that guy. So all in all, him being upset that you set boundaries and also take into account as well, notice how different he's treating you, that he knows you have boundaries now. Now that he knows the chances of things escalating to maybe him sleeping with you, getting more access to you, getting closer to you, right? It's kind of a euphemism, getting closer to you. Now that he knows that's kind of not possible anymore, notice how little he's interested in talking to you. Sometimes too, as a woman, you have to take into account, how does a guy treat me when he thinks sex is a possibility? And how does he treat me when he realizes sex isn't a possibility anymore, right? I talked about that on a show. I can't remember the title or the name of the show, but I made the example of, like, let's say you go out with a guy and he thinks, you know, you guys are going to sleep together at the end of the night. And then halfway through the night, he realizes you're on your period. How does he treat you differently? How does he talk to you differently? How does he interact with you after realizing he's not going to have sex with you tonight? Is it different? Does he talk to you different? Does he not be as attentive to your needs? Does he seem less interested in the conversation, right? I'm not saying that as exactly you, but that's an example of, look at how differently he's treating you now that your boundaries means he's probably not going to be able to escalate things to any sort of point that is pleasurable for him, right? And the most important question, how should I behave when the semester break ends in 2 months and we see each other again? You do nothing. So for me, if you were really asking me what I think you should do, I think even if he did try to talk to you, you should ignore him. But I'm really glad that he's making it so easy for you to not talk to him. So you don't go out of your way. Don't try to sit by him. In fact, if he ever does come and try and sit closer to you, you sit away from him and say, hey, buddy, I'm cool on everything now. Hey, you know, if you ever ask, hey, it's all good. You do your own thing over there. I don't need you to be over here. We don't need to talk about nothing. That would be even better for you. I promise you, there are more people in your class, more people you can hang out with, more people you can study with. There's tons of people for you to connect with more than just this guy. Okay. And if you want friends, you can make lots of different friends. You can make girlfriends. Okay. Girlfriends would be even more amazing. They can understand you better. They know what you're going through. You can talk about your boy problems. You can go on bike rides with them as well. You know that, right? You know, you can make some girlfriends you can go on bike rides with. You can go out to coffee with your girlfriends as well, right? You realize it's possible to build connections that are platonic. Not all your connections have to be people you're romantically attracted to. That would be really healthy for you as well, and not feeling like if a guy shows you some interest that you have to be with him, right? Build some woman connections. That way your life's not so centered around men and their attention. Right? That'll also allow you to not feel like your life is boring or uninteresting when this guy's not talking to you anymore. I promise you, nothing good was coming from this. So you did the right thing. You're moving in the right direction. If he tries to talk to you again, just completely ignore him. There's literally nothing left in this friendship. Okay? Are we on the same page? Let's see here. Pansy says, you missed my question. It was in the premium section. You skipped it. Here's a link. Toxic friend. Okay. Okay, yeah, you're right. I might have missed this because it seems like the older questions were skipped. So we have to go in the free section anyways. Okay, so Pansy's question, toxic friend. Hi, Tommy, you answered my question before, but I want you to give more context. Someone commented a long response below my post, so I just want to write my final question here so you don't miss them. Is this toxic friendship? Toxic friendship? Should I stay away from V? Did she reach out? Sorry, I have to read the background here. About a year and a half ago, I formed a close friendship with a girl I'll refer to as V. We clipped immediately. Yes. So I'll give you guys the rundown on this. So because we don't need to read this all again. Basically, you were feeling like you had some toxic friendships and people were acting weird and strange to you in person. They invited you to a shoot, I believe, and then people were acting very weird towards you, just giving you some weird energy. Is this a toxic friendship? Should I stay away from V? So I'll say this: any friendship that you feel like the person either is using you, taking advantage of you, or you feel like you're on the outside, you feel like an outsider around that person, then that relationship that friendship isn't for you. So the answer is really, how do you feel about the friendship deep down? If you feel like this friendship is not what a friendship should be, is not what a friendship should look like, then that's not someone that you need to be friends with. There's lots of other, same way there's lots of other men you can be in a relationship with, there's lots of other women you can be in a friendship with. Did she reach out to S to get to me on purpose? I'm trying to see here. So I'm trying to refresh my memory. In Instagram story, I was taken aback. I felt betrayed, honestly. I would say her reaching out to S. I don't want you to spend so much time thinking about why other people are doing the things that they're doing. I'm not saying that to not answer your question. I'm saying that because what does it matter? Right? If you feel like you're being mistreated by someone who you consider to be a friend, what does it matter if, V reached out to S for the purpose of making you jealous, for the purpose of getting on your nerves, for the purpose of involving herself in your situation and with your people? What does it matter? Because at the end of the day, is that going to change whether or not you feel like you can be friends with the girl? Is that going to change whether or not, you feel like this relationship is becoming toxic? Should I not reach out to S to hang out unless he asks me directly? 100%. Any guy that you're exploring a relationship with, the possibility of one, you should not be the one going out of your way to reach out to them and have a conversation with them, or no, I should have a conversation with them. Reach out to them and ask them on a date, or to be trying to remind them that, hey, by the way, we haven't hung out in a while. I would love to see. You shouldn't be doing that. If you're doing that, you're in the wrong relationship or talking stage. Should I be friends with her friend and are you talking about V's friend and hang out one-on-one again? Once again, this is really a question for you to answer for yourself. What do you think, what value do you think the friendship is giving you? Do you think that the friendship is serving you in a way where, hey, I enjoy being that person's friend. This is a quality friendship. We build each other up. We help each other out. Or do you feel like it's tearing you down, where you constantly find yourself in toxic situations, where you feel like an outcast, where you feel like they're trying to tear you down, where you feel like they're trying to go behind your back, where you feel like this isn't serving you anymore? The reason I say that is, these are things you have to decide for yourself. I know you want me to give you an answer, but if you feel like this friendship is becoming toxic, you have to be the one to say, this is not serving me. I need to step out of this situation. Okay? And if your friends are starting to become an issue to the point where it's bleeding into your relationships and it's bleeding into your ability to have good relationships, then yes, you have an issue. And yes, it doesn't make sense for you to be friends with women who are creating those sort of issues in your relationships and just in your life in general. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, let's hop into our next question here. There was a couple of things that what is this? Yappers are us. There was a couple of questions that they're kind of weird. Not weird, but they did not show up properly because I had a whole thing here. It's like they're no longer highlighted. Wait, what? This is so strange. Oh, see, like some of these are questions that literally I never got the chance to answer. Let's see here. So there was how to be detached. We kind of talked about this today. I think I did that one. Am I open to date and fall in love? Oh, this is so hard. Okay, no, I remember doing that one. Sorry, Chad, I'm just trying to figure out which ones I missed because some of them went away afterwards. I think I did the Shiloh one. Toxic friend 2. EBS, certain kind. Oh, discouraged. Yeah, we did that. Narcissist marriage proposal. Yappers are us. Okay, so we'll do signs. He's gay but hiding it. Hi, Thompson. Can you give us your take on this topic? So this is going to be pretty hard for me to answer. I hate to not give an answer, but I have to be honest with you. If I don't have a expertise in a particular place, it would be hard for me to give you signs that a guy is gay. If I'm not gay myself, how do I know a sign that a guy is gay, right? when I give you guys information about how men think and how they operate, it comes from a place of actual experience because I can put myself in that place, or I've been in that place mentally. If I'm giving you signs that he's gay, it's kind of hard because I don't know what gay men do, how they hide things, how they go about things, how they'll be in a relationship that's like a front for their, or a beer for them. So it kind of be hard for me. Okay. I try and refrain from giving answers that I don't have real experience in. Okay, so then that's one of them, to be honest. Let's do Just Jess. I think I did. It was red. Thank you, Just Jess. Appreciate that. LP Baby. This one was red. Thank you. Appreciate you guys doing that for me. How to Rebound was red. Okay, so some of these were not done. Okay, I think this one was not done yet. Lee. Okay, this one was not done yet. To save this relationship / make him attracted to me again. So M says, I'm 22. I was in a situation with a guy who's 21 for 7 months. I want to save this relationship because I don't like cutting people down. Sorry, I think you might say cutting people off who are rare and have potential. About me and him, we were single all of our lives. And we were each other's first kiss, and I trust him enough for this. Yes, he's a loyal person. Okay, it's been 7 months, okay? All his family and friends know me, spends a lot of time with me when I go home. But during the 7 months, I did a lot of things like over-explaining, I think you meant to say begging, for spending time together, asking him to take me out on dates, and misunderstanding him. I involved a third party into our convo with his only best friend. It made me look bad, and he lost 100% respect for me. He called and said, oops, he's done with me. It's been 3 to 4 weeks since that, but we're still texting. He's been nice, but he said he's lost attraction and can't take it further, like being in a relationship with me. So then we have our answer, right? It's really sad that he used to like me 5 months ago. He was obsessed, but found out my faults over time. It's my first time too. I've learned my lessons. And 2 months ago, there were a lot of cases when a lot of cases when I did not I did no contact, okay? But when he reached out to me, I forgot everything with joy and acted like nothing happened. Like these scenarios, which made him take me for granted. He would say stuff like, please talk to other guys. He wants me to leave, but now it's been 9 days, and I am strictly following no contact. He's asking me why I'm not replying. I'm like reading what you're not typing, but trying to understand what you're trying to say, to not ghost him and leave him alone. So I'm done doing this so that I can become emotionally stronger and more mature, because I was too emotional and depended on him a lot in the past. In this period, I learned so many things about men by watching Tomisin. I'm so grateful for him. He's the best. So I hope I can make him attracted to me again with my more mature self after no contact. I really like this guy. He's the first person to even love me, to ever love me. Listen to me, support me, and care for me. I don't want to lose a guy with such potential. Here's the thing, Em. You're not going to like my answer at all. That's not how life works. Okay. And I'm glad you're watching me and getting a better understanding of like how you can change it so that you can have better relationships. But here's the thing, you're making the same mistake that I think a lot of women make when they first start watching my show. They want to apply everything that I talk about to the guy that they've already like messed everything up with. And I'm not saying that, things can't change and you can't adjust and, have a better relationship. But a lot of the time I always say relationships are like cement. At the beginning, when you're pouring the cement, that's when it's moldable. You can shape it. You can put your hand in it. You can put your foot in it. You can draw on it, and you can make it take whatever shape you want. As a relationship goes on over the course of time, it hardens just like cement does. And at some point, you get to a point where you literally can't It's etched in stone, literally. And you can't make changes or adjustments to it because that is what it's established to be. It's the same thing in a relationship. A lot of times you get to a point in a relationship where you do so many things that make you look bad. You don't have self-respect. You're begging for his time, begging for his attention. You're like all the stuff that we talk about to not do. And once you do it all the time, that's how he begins to see you and understand you. That's his perception of you. And it also goes into what then his value is, right? The value that he sees that you have, right? And then it changes the way he treats you and approaches the relationship and all that stuff. And so at a certain point, you have to realize like, okay, if all these things that transpired kind of messed up my ability to have a good relationship with him, let me take these lessons and knowledge to learn from it, to have a better relationship with the new guy in the future. Instead of being overly obsessed with like, okay, all the new things that I learned, now I want to apply to this guy and hopefully he'll see me differently and things will change. It's very hard to unsee those things, right? Or undo those things that you guys have had happen in the relationship. I'm not saying that's all your fault either. I'm just saying you're hoping that all these changes will make him have a different perception of you, but that's not how that works, okay? They can help you in your future to have better relationships in the future for sure, but I'm not gonna give you any promises like that's gonna change how he feels, especially when he's decided for himself that you're not the person he's looking for. You can't be in pick me mode hoping that like I'll show him that I'm really the person he's looking for when he's already decided that you're not. Okay, that's not how that works. Let's hop into our next question. So just Lee, what questions? Oh, wait, so save this. Who's doing this? Is this someone? Oh, thank you, LP baby. Appreciate that. You doing the check marks. It's helping me order the questions. So this one's from Lee. Lee says, what questions should I ask a man I like? Hey, Tomisin, I'm back and I really appreciate the video or videos you created in my response to my questions. Yes, I've been paying attention. And I would like to say your advice, I took your advice to not entertain my ex friends, despite how handsome one of them was and what everyone was advising in the chat. It's been 4 months since our breakup almost, and I still think about my ex daily, but I decided to move back in with my parents temporarily so I don't have to live alone through this rough time and transfer to a different location to get away from the past and start over, hopefully forgetting about him. Everything reminds me of him, and I still think too much about him. I'm ready to move on now and start getting to know someone else. I was wondering if you could make a video on how to get to know a guy and understand him better, like what questions to ask. I feel like you talked about this in a previous video, but didn't really touch on the part of the process I really need. I'm a shy guy, so I get super nervous when cute guys approach me and want to spend more time with me. Of course, I want to, and I'm listening to your advice and saying no, even though I do. Okay, yeah. I just want to know how to get to know a guy without friend zoning him or telling him that I like him, but I'm just genuinely curious about how getting to know him and what questions I should ask him without it being too boring or too basic. And should I ask personal questions when I first meet him, or do I work up to that moment? I recently met someone who's interesting, but I found myself at a loss for words and ideas of what sort of questions I should be asking so he can fall in love with me and chase me. He has made some efforts to get to know me today, which I do appreciate. Okay, the first problem that you have is your philosophy on why you're doing this in the first place. Your philosophy on why you're asking a guy questions can't be, I want to ask a guy questions so that he'll fall in love with me. That's the wrong philosophy. Your philosophy needs to be, I'm asking this guy questions to try and understand him better, what he's about, what he's here for, what his approach is, what he desires for myself and my understanding of who he is, to see if he's a good partner or the type of partner that I'm looking for. That's why you're asking the questions, not to try and get him fall in love with you. The reason that I'm saying mindset is everything here is because you're stumbling and at a loss for words because you're searching for the perfect thing to say and the perfect thing to ask. That's going to make you less of a conversationalist when you're always looking for the perfect way to say something that, oh my God, when I ask this question this way, he's going to be so impressed. I'm going to knock his socks off that he's really going to want me. He's really going to want to be in a relationship with me. He's going to be like, you can't think like that. You're going to paralyze yourself and feel like, oh, you're going to be in your own head. What I just asked there, that was so dumb. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Why did I say this like that? And then you won't even be able to be present in the conversation because you'll be thinking so much about, oh, I should have said this better. I didn't do enough. Now he's not going to be in love with me. He's going to think I'm weird. That's not a place for you to be in mentally. I said this in an answer to another question as well. Some of your concern is really just from not having the practice of being a conversationalist. I promise you, like, for example, I was just at a party with friends literally on Saturday, and I went there. I knew some people, but there was a bunch of people that I didn't know, and I had conversations with those people for the first time, long conversations, one-on-one hour conversations. But like, you just have to practice being a conversationalist over the course of time, which means you're going to have to go out. You're going to have to talk to people that you didn't meet, until that night, and just get good at, being able to flow in conversation and know what to talk about, know what to ask about. As someone says, oh, I do this, I do that, and then asking follow-up questions, right? And it's not as hard as you're imagining. You just have to take the pressure off of yourself. I would say if you really want to get good, try practicing it while sober, because you'll build a hard skill that you won't lose. You could try, getting a little bit of liquid courage to try and start asking these questions. The only problem is you'll start relying on that to be interesting. And the best way to be interesting is to be interesting without anything in your system. But all it takes really is practice if you're talking about conversation. And then the mindset should be, I'm asking these questions to try and understand you better, not to try and make you fall in love with me. Okay. And that really is the start of how to start having good conversations in a way that flows better, and will teach you a lot more about the person. Okay, let's do another one here. So did that. This one was Lee. This one was deleted. This one was clarifying questions. Okay, by just clarifying questions that have been unread. Hi, Tommy. I was watching some of your past videos and I had some questions that could use clarification. I know you said do dating 1 time a week for month 1, and then 2 times a week for month 2, and then 3 times a week for month 3 until he asks you to be his girlfriend. But what if he asks you to be his girlfriend at the end of month 1? Nope. Or month 2? Nope. You're not going to say yes to either of those if he asks you in month 1 or month 2. Or something. No, neither of those. Then while you're his girlfriend, should you just continue this pattern until it's been 3 months? You shouldn't even be saying yes to being a girlfriend in 3 months. If he asks you realize you have options, right? If a guy asks you to be his girlfriend, you don't have an obligation to say yes. You can say, look, I like where this is going. I love spending time with you. I love going out on our dates. I want to give both of us some more time to continue growing and, enjoying the time we're spending together. And then, just so that we can build a better understanding of what our relationship is and what it looks like. And then I can also feel more comfortable with you and around you on a more consistent level. Yes, it's been a good 1 month, or it could be a good 2 months, but I still need to get a better overall feel for you over the course of time, not just, right now. And the reason I'm saying you answer that question that way, you don't want to obviously make him feel like you're not interested or the answer is no. You just want to help him understand, yes, I love where things are going. In fact, I just want to continue seeing more of that over the course of time and not just make a decision based on these first couple of months that have been good, which is more than reasonable for a mature person. Now, an immature guy will take that and say, oh, I can't handle that. The fact that you don't want to date me and it's only been 1 month or 2 months, that's so ridiculous, right? An immature guy, he'll throw a tantrum. A mature guy will hear that and say, oh, it's perfectly fine. We can still go out. I can still see you. It's not like you're disappearing. We can still do everything we've been doing. It's just you won't be my girlfriend yet. There's nothing wrong with that. I usually date Christian men, so I feel like they move quicker than waiting 3 months to ask you to be their girlfriend. So should I limit the dates per week, even when we reach boyfriend and girlfriend? No. Like I said, you should only be saying yes until you get to 3 months. And even better for you, the Christian men have even less of an excuse to throw a tantrum or pressure you. Because then when you say, hey, I want to go at this pace, I want to make sure I'm doing this right, the Christian men should definitely be in alignment with you on that, because they should be saying, hey, I completely understand why you want to make sure we do this right and make sure we take this seriously. So I don't think you should have any problem saying that to a Christian man. If anything, these should be the most understanding men of the fact that you want to ensure you have some consistency before you just hop into saying yes to being someone's girlfriend or boyfriend. If a Christian man can't understand that, then I don't think he's your man. He should be the most patient when it comes to doing a relationship right, if he's serious about this. I know you talk a lot about giving men dog treats, but you also say don't use sex as a reward. 100% you don't use sex as a reward. Why not? Like, obviously, not early on in the relationship, but for example, as someone who is waiting until marriage, couldn't sex be seen as like a reward / dog treat if my husband wants to act a certain way and keep doing or stop doing certain things, even though that sounds toxic? No, you don't want your man to begin associating good behavior with receiving sex. It's not the core, even though it sounds like a harmless correlation, it's not the correlation that will actually make you successful in your relationship. One, sex isn't, as weird as it sounds, sex isn't as good as appreciation for men, right? Appreciation will make a man feel more like a man, make him feel more needed, make him feel more useful and resourceful to you than having sex with him will. I know that sounds very weird. The ego boost that men get, a good ego boost, right? That men get from feeling like they did a good job for you when you verbally validate them, right? And even with your body language validate, I'm so appreciative of what you do for me. I can't tell you how much I love the fact that you went here and you went out of your way to do this for me and change my oil and do my tire. Like, you saved me so much time. You saved me so much energy. I'm telling you, for you as a woman, you might think, oh my gosh, that's not that big a deal. It's just my words. But for men, it's music to their ears. That is actually better than sex. A lot of guys will even push back and say, oh no, nothing's better than sex. They don't realize that emotionally for them, it's better than sex. Because feeling like your woman needs you and feeling like you're useful to your woman and that she sees how you do things for her and the way that you're trying for her, that's what men really want. Because happy wife, happy life is so ingrained in us as men that when we know that we're making our woman happy, it puts us in such a good mood and a good place mentally to feel like we're doing a good job. That's why I say it's like a dog treat, right? The feeling of doing a good job for your woman is like a feeling you can't really describe as a man. And a lot of men don't know how much they need that until they're so void of that sometimes they'll go to other women to try and get that sort of validation, that sort of feeling like I'm useful, I'm resourceful, not just always feeling like a failure, okay? I promise you get the dog treat part right in the emotion, in the appreciation part, and making sure you constantly acknowledge him and appreciate him for the good things he's doing for you. The sex part will be easy. That'll be the easiest part. Okay. Could you please do a show on what to do if you're waiting until marriage? I know I had many other ladies in the chat that could really use it and would greatly appreciate it. Well, okay, so what would be the strategy that you need if you're waiting until marriage? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You could still follow the same strategy in terms of the frequency at which you go on dates, just so you can give yourself an opportunity to like judge his character. But then you just know that the sex portion or any of the sexual portions that I talk about, because you're referring to my sex timeline show. Or my sex timeline video, you just know any portion that has to do with oral sex or regular sex or intercourse, you're not going to be a part of that. You're not going to be participating in that. In which case, you just continue doing all the other things that I talk about that must be happening in the relationship while that timeline is going on. And then you save the sex until the end of the relationship. I don't think your timeline needs to change. Now, I do think that at some point, even if you're going to wait until marriage, you should talk about sex, what good sex is to both of you. what you feel like the way that you get pleasure it is, what your needs are, right? I know that for some of you that might be Christian or religious, you might be a virgin, but still you can have those conversations about things that turn you on, things that you like, see what your guy's into, see what he's not into, and just get a feel for that, even in the ways that you can be intimate outside of just, sleeping together. That can still be built even though you're not necessarily married, but you're in a serious relationship. And that can be happening as well throughout your timeline as you're building the relationship up more. So for you, just think of it as we get more intense in terms of my understanding of him sexually, instead of doing the actual sexual acts. That would be the only adjustment that I would make for you, as opposed to someone who is open to sleeping with a man before marriage. That's really the only difference. Okay. All right, chat. That's the show for today. I do have to run. It is late, 9:30. Okay. I do have to run. For those of you who want to re-watch the show, we're already on YouTube, so you can re-watch the show. For those of you who want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is just at the bottom of the description. You can find it there and follow me there. For those of you who want to know what time I'll be live, again, I'm live every Monday and Thursday. We do like 5:30 now. We do like 5:30. Okay, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. So I will be back again on, is it Monday again? So then it's Thursday again. So I'll be back again on Thursday at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. And I might pop up before then. We'll see. Okay, all right. I'll see you again on Thursday. Until we meet again, I bid you adieu, arrivederci, au revoir, hasta la vista, adios, sayonara, ciao, salam, baoni, bon voyage! And I'll see you again on Thursday. Okay, 5:30 p.m. EST.